Sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
sorry, I get to yapping and
No, you are okay. I remember them telling me that this only get an hour to to record, and I forgot to make sure that I bought the pro version.
I don't blame you for because yeah, use the free version.
Yeah.
We can just like I said, I'm in no rush, so if you just want to reinvite me, it's not like I'm gonna, what be offended by that or anything. Yeah, no, I'm having a problem because I paid the registration fee on the site and
Mhm.
I'm having a problem uploading the song because the app like doesn't recognize that I already paid. I mean, I don't. It's not a big deal. I'll figure it out. But I mean, worst case scenario, can you just use the MP3 I sent you or?
Yep. No, yeah, I can use the
Okay.
MP3
Because
that you sent
because
me.
I did I paid the submission fee because I wanted to use PayPal. I try to stay away from Apple Pay because that just
Oh
leads
my God.
to
Yeah.
dangerous rabbit holes. For
Yes.
me, like, I'm always like I don't know, just I don't want to put the money there because it I'll just be like, yeah, I'll buy that. Like
Yeah. I
it's
also
just
seen with my mom how Apple Pay does that predatory type of, oh, we you pay for this, but once you pay for this, we also gonna charge you for your subscriptions. Then if you want to download the app, you got to pay us for the subscriptions that you haven't paid for yet. I'm like, I was
absolutely.
like, I have never seen this from a company before.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, and there's no way to cancel the
No,
transaction. Once you make it's like the worst. It's like the worst thing
super worst thing.
on the website because I was like, oh, you can use PayPal, and then I went on the well, it's a long, boring story. I'm not gonna get into it. If you could use the MP3 until I figure it out,
No problem. I can definitely
I'd
do that.
appreciate that. And yeah, in any art you want to come up with, that's cool. I have no I'm open to all ideas. So just whatever you want to do, I'm cool with. I'm just I'm bad. I'm really bad at that. I'm lucky enough. My friend, her kingdom does all my uh cover art because she saw some of my previous attempts and she was like, do you want do you want some help with, and I was like, yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't even like let her finish the sentence because she comes up with stuff that she's really great too. You should check her out. She's
Okay.
on YouTube, her kingdom. And she's hip hop, uh and R&B, but it's just interesting because we were both in this songwriting group that I was talking about that had,
Okay.
really also misogynist, racist issues going on and we both left. I left a couple of days before her because I just couldn't take it any longer. I was like, yeah, I'm out now. It was like the second I got on the countdown, I was just like, oh, now I'm like actively participating in this, and
Yeah, it's like no.
it's just gross. Um, but it's just funny because it's sort of like I find that like the musicians I'm working with in Australia, they're like progressive, more kind of harder, like punk stuff. I feel like it's amazing, like how you can connect with people over, who aren't in genres that you're in, just because you're like, hey, I like the song, or
Right.
like I was a big fan of her music before we started talking, and it's just like it's so different from what I would do that I loved it so much. I was like, well, that sort of was the attraction because it's like when you listen to stuff that is more in your genre, it's work because you can't help but start deconstructing it
Yep.
and going, what would I do different? What are the chords? What's the melody? What's this? Whereas if it's another genre, I can just sort of sit back and enjoy it. And
And
and I find myself when I'm trying to relax, I listen to a lot of R&B, I listen to a lot of hip hop. because I just would never I would never do that. And I really love just pop music. Like I know it's like cheesy. Some of it's really cheesy, but I think I gotta say, like like Billie Eilish has some great songs.
She
Like,
does.
you
She
know,
definitely does.
I know she has a great songwriting team working for, I mean, well, Phineas with Eilish, but Sabrina Carpenter, the songwriters working with her are great.
I agree.
And I'm ashamed to admit as a 52-year-old that I listen, when I want to relax, I'll listen to Tears, I'll listen to Man Child, I just don't let that get out because it's no, I just, I feel like I'm like pervy but it's not about that. It's like relaxing to listen to a it's not on the same, she's not, Rihanna or on the same level as, I mean, Billie Eilish, I think has a lot of talent, but Lana Del Rey, for instance, I really think is killing it. And the one I really like is Wise Blood.
Ooh,
Natalie, you know her? Yeah,
yeah.
that album, and in the Darkness, Hearts Aglow. I listened to it. To me, it's up there with like Pet Sounds. It's like I listened to that album for like 3 months, almost like every day, sometimes twice a day. I would listen to those songs. Children of the Empire,
Mm, that's a good one.
God Turned Me Into a Flower, because it was just like there was so much it's not just me. There was just there's so much in there, and she comes from such a like she was like a punk rocker,
Yeah.
and now she's doing this really melodic orchestral stuff, and it's just like
Oh, wow.
it's really cool.
It's cool,
Yeah,
really
I
cool to see her change. It is.
yeah, it's really, but then it's like, I love to give me, Blue Sunday by the Doors, like that always relaxes me. And this the one I really there's two songs right now that I'm like obsessed with, and it's like that connection you have with it.
Hmm.
But Cosmic Dancer by T-Rex, and Femme Fatale by Velvet Underground are like and of course the other day I was like I hadn't listened to the Joshua Tree album in you know decades, and I put that on again, and it was like, wow, this still really just stands up, and it was great because I grew up and it was like U2 and the Smiths
Mm, yeah, me too.
and yeah, during like Queen is Dead, during that whole period, and like K Rock was like the for me the place I listened to. But yeah, but once I got into the Beatles, it kind of, I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'll listen to, like I said, I started listening to the Shirelles and Smokey Robinson and Chuck Berry, and then but I also at the same time really got into Pink Floyd and Fleetwood Mac and kind of all those I guess like the music of the late 50s to the late 70s. I just
That's about
really
pretty
did.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about pretty much where my parents took my musical
Oh
listening.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so like who did you grow up listening to?
So at first I was listening to mostly Metallica and Nirvana, which is crazy,
Okay,
I
yeah.
know, right? And then once they started doing, I ran into that Run DMC and listening to MTV at night and
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
and finding different hip hop songs. I started listening to like Benny Siegel, Jay-Z, Biggie, but
Oh yeah.
then
But Run DMC, that was like they were like the first that was my first that, and because uh NWA came out kind of later,
yeah, like
but Run
80s.
DMC was like the first rap music I heard, because Aerosmith had that Walk With
Walk
Me.
with me, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the name of the song.
Yep.
Yeah, Walk This Way, Walk
Walk
This
this
Way.
way.
Talk
Yeah.
But I remember listening to Run DMC and like We Be Illin, that record that came out, like We Be Illin, I think is like one of the greatest songs ever. And that, but that was my like first introduction to rap. And again, like it was so different from anything I had ever heard.
Anything. Yep.
And it's just it's like the music, rap has evolved so much. I mean, there are just some songs that like the poetry of it is amazing. And the that's like okay, I'm never like God, nobody wants to hear a 52-year-old white boy rapping. And I'm very much aware of my white boyness. And it's sort of like uh respect to all those fucking people, because it's like again, it's like I just feel, and maybe that there are just certain genres and certain styles of music that it's got to be like in your soul. It's got to be inherent. And I'm not saying, because you can be like, I think they're like, what's his face? Eminem had some great songs. It's not a question of ethnicity or anything, but you got to be really fucking, good
It's
at,
gotta be in your soul. It just gotta
yeah.
be in
It's
you.
got it's got to be, it's just got to be. I mean that because you're just I don't know, there's just certain genres that it's like reggae, right?
Yeah.
Like I love, I mean, fucking Redemption Song. Uh Bob Marley. Bob Marley, he's another one that I listen to. Redemption Song is another song that's just I gotta listen to that at least, once a month.
Buffalo
One of the
Soldier is one of mine. So like,
Buffalo Soldier, I mean, No Woman, No Cry. The
yeah.
fact that he works fucking politics into No Woman, No Cry, right?
Yeah, that was amazing. It was
But
mind blowing.
yeah, but like, I mean, it's like Redemption Song, it's just, it's like four chords. But man, like, and I heard this really great cover by, of all people, Johnny Cash and Joe Strummer. And I'm like, okay, but you can't, those lyrics are so like the Jamaican dialect is like so necessary in the delivery,
Yeah.
but I again, it's just like it's like it transcends you. But sorry, go back. So you were listening to like Nirvana. Okay, totally love no Nirvana. Metallica, I could never get into.
Yeah, they went through a couple iterations of that band, and the very first iteration of that band was my favorite.
Hmm. I
Interesting.
just found found that I find like there's certain music that I'm like, oh, that's like technically really great, but like I can't like I don't know, I can't like, I just feel like it's the way I like the way I feel about Paul Simon. Except for Graceland. Graceland is like one of my favorite albums of all time, because he was using all those South African musicians, and it just fucking rocks. But I feel there's a very sort of like musical theory, very technical way that he goes about writing stuff that I just, I feel like, you sort of listen to like there's this period of Springsteen starting with his second album, The Good, the Bad, and the E Street Shuffle, going through the river that I just dig, especially Darkness on the Edge of Town, I think is one of my favorite albums.
Okay.
And it's like you kind of listen to the way that Springsteen approaches songwriting, and it's all in the Stax Motown. It's very infused with that. I mean, Sixth Avenue Freeze Out. It's like he's wearing his influences on his sleeves. But you just kind of like, I'd rather take that approach to songwriting, where it's like the melody and the themes first, and like don't worry about the technical stuff kind of.
Come falls into place.
Yeah, and sometimes I think like if things are too thought out, it like loses that,
You
sort of
start to
magic.
overthink the
But
song too
but
much.
but so you got into Run DMC, and then you started but you were talking about the music that your parents listened
Yeah,
to.
so my mom, whenever me and her took road trips as a kid, she would always, her very first thing was to throw in Motown CDs. And
Nice.
so I got into love with Smokey Robinson, the Shy
Hmm.
Lights, the Spinners. Some little
Yep.
bit of the Temptations was on there sometimes, but my favorite was Aretha. You had Patti LaBelle
Oh,
with some of her
oh yeah.
favorites. Gladys Knight.
Aretha, man. I mean, Aretha,
Oh, she
I
blew
mean,
down. Oh, she
Queen of
blew
Soul.
down.
Yeah. That, I mean, I mean, it's amazing. Just the power and also like Tina Turner. I mean, I know Ike
Yeah,
Turner. Ike Turner was a very bad man, but he was a genius.
he was a musical genius, but he was very evil outside
He
of that studio.
outside that, but I gotta tell you the stuff that Tina Turner did with him. I mean, that's talk about next level. And God, who was I just? Oh God, I was just thinking about another person that I've been listening to a lot lately, and it totally, it's gone. That's what happens, when you turn my age. Like the thoughts, I start to notice more senior moments, more like, what am I doing in this room? And I live in a studio, so it's
Said,
what, what was
oh,
it? But
what was I doing up there?
the Motown stuff, and did you get into any of the stacks like Otis Redfield and yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah. Otis
Otis
Redding
Redding,
was,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Otis Redding was a big one. Another big one that I've I personally fell in love in when I first found his music was Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, of course, yeah,
I think my very first song was Love TKO that I heard. After that,
nice,
I pretty much went on the musical journey with Teddy. I was like, oh yeah, Love TKO is one of my favorites. Turn off the
yeah,
lights now.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
good.
and then of course, like, somebody like Marvin Gaye. I
Ah,
mean,
Marvin,
music in the
Luther.
key of life is fucking
Yes.
that's genius.
Yep.
That's just right there. I love that's another album that I find myself just always like listening to. Like when you just like sort of, again, it's like these relationships you form with the music and you become like addicted to it. You're like, I gotta
Mhm.
hear this.
I
I
gotta
gotta
hear
hear this
this.
right now. Yeah. But you
Like,
got into then you started getting into like Jay-Z and more of
actually,
the early G
I
stuff and
stayed it more onto the Motown. I'm more Motown R&B nowadays than I am hip hop and rap.
mm,
I listen to my Ashanti Aaliyah. Nowadays, I listen to Ella
yeah.
Mai, who's a newer artist that came out.
Okay, I gotta check them out.
Um, Queen Naija, she was actually from Michigan, where I was from, so I believe, don't quote me, I think that's where she
Ah,
but she was one of the people that I kind of grew up on because she started off as a YouTuber. And I used to kind of watch her YouTube content before she actually turned into a singer. And so
ah,
I listened to her, Rihanna, obviously, always been,
Rihanna.
yeah, Rihanna's
Oh,
always
I
probably,
mean that voice.
she probably always been one of my biggest crush. Take a Bow is probably hands down one of my
I
favorite songs.
obviously, I mean, without a doubt, maybe I don't know, maybe between her and Rosario Dawson,
Oh
sexiest woman on the planet.
my God. Oh
I
my
don't know.
God. That's a
There,
good one. Those two
those
are.
though, but Rihanna, like with her music, that sensuality always comes through.
Hmm.
And I mean, I don't want to be like reductive or anything, but if you got it, flaunt it, right? And she really, when she leans into that, but then when she doesn't, just when she has I mean, just her music, just has really good taste
Yes, she
in
does.
in what she
Yeah,
does.
even
But
that
yeah,
album. Yeah, even
no,
her Unplugged
I mean,
album.
I love R&B. And so your mom was really big into R&B and introduced that to you.
Yes,
And
she
and so
was.
do you write mostly R&B or
I'm right, mostly hip hop, but
Hmm,
I have done some R&B handwriting. I just never found the actual singer to back up the vocals because I am no singer of my right. I'm pretty good with my poetry and making sure I can match
sure.
that up onto to a beat and cadence. But
Yeah.
singing, I'm like, I got my octaves that I know I can hit, and I can if I stay
Yeah.
there, it's gonna sound good.
Yeah.
But me actually trying to be a Usher or a Trey Songz or Redding or Marvin Gaye, yeah,
Well,
it's
that's why like I said, what's great about indie, folk rock, indie rock. is like I've just like leaned into my nasal Southern California drawl. I used to be so insecure about it. And like, because yeah, there are those vocalists that just can like nail every single note. And me,
Hmm.
I'm like key of it, I'm like D, key of D, A, F, C sometimes, G, not so much lately. I'm
Yeah.
like using the capo a lot more. But
Yep.
but I'm like that's okay because like Paul Simon, everything he wrote was in B flat,
Yeah.
So I know what you mean because it's like I just feel it's like but that's why I picked a genre where it's like, well, like I don't have like a Bob Dylan voice.
Right.
So I'm like, if people are gonna, because people always compare me to Bob Dylan a lot because of the acoustic stuff. Although like really astute people are always like, no, like Harry Chapin, and they hear like the Leonard Cohen in there, you know. But like I have written so many songs of mine have started out as Leonard Cohen songs, but I can't sing like that. So they
Right.
turn into like I wrote this one song called Cool as a Customer that's on Hard to Be Human. And I was just walking down the street one day and I heard some people might like you. Some people just ain't. Some people cut you down because you're kind as a saint. And I was like, okay. And I like went home and played around with it, and it's completely different now.
Right.
Because if I did that, I would sound like an idiot. But but all he had to do was because Suzanne's one of my favorite songs of his, Suzanne takes you down to that place by the river. But you can spend the night beside her, you can watch that whole thing. But he can just like play an E chord and like magic happens,
Right.
and he has that amazing voice, and he can go so low with that baritone. And I can't do that, but I can. It's inspiring, and you're like, yeah, let me like try that out and
Yeah.
and see. But like probably like for me, sorry, but going back to so Smokey Robinson you mentioned, and
Hmm.
because I love Smokey Robinson. I think he just, man, just the way he wrote songs, right, still write
Still
songs,
right. Yeah.
is just like just as you, but like same with like Lionel Richie,
They wrote so many songs for so many musicians.
and
And
it's like I think that he gets because music of the night, not music of the night, music of the night. That's Phantom of the Opera. Um, Not Dancing on the Ceiling. His big album, All Night Long. Because All Night Long was so big, I think like it doesn't detract, but it kind of takes people focus on that, and they're not like listening to the stuff he did with the Commodores, which to me, I mean, All Night Long is great, but it doesn't have it's like he's writing a commercial album. He's writing a pop album.
yeah,
Whereas like the stuff he was doing with the R&B he was doing with the Commodores was just, you know, the
beautiful.
the the honesty of that.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, Easy, I think, is just like, I mean, talk about a perfect song. Yeah, how can you fucking not love Easy?
Easy.
But hey, do you remember? I just remember loving, and I'm not like a glam, heavy metal person, hard rock guy, but Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. That was a killer album.
If it is that the one with Every Thorn?
No, that's Poison.
That's Poison. Okay.
And poison must be avoided at all. At all. No, it was the Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet
Oh,
Child
okay. So yeah.
Mine,
Okay, so
Michelle, but Dr. Brownstone.
okay, then
Uh,
that was a good
just
album too.
yeah, Dr. Brownstone has like just a great riff and a great beat to it.
Now they were more my dad's kind of speed.
Oh,
My dad worked at the newspaper place, and that's all you would hear is like "Welcome to the Jungle."
mhm.
Um, what's some more that they listened to there?
Because
Geez.
it was like all those hair bands, right? So
Yes, it was like all the classic
like Bon
early
Jovi,
70,
yeah,
80s bands. I'm like,
yeah.
wow. I was like, I wouldn't be seeing this from y'all. It was like a lot of you would think they were hard-nosed blue collar people, but a lot of them was just like closeted hippies to me. I was like,
Yeah.
huh.
So what kind of music was your dad into?
My dad was in, since he came from a very heavy gospel family, that was kind of where they were. They also did albums themselves. They were called the Sunshine Pebbles, and so they had their own.
Oh,
Yeah, they did vinyl records. His family did vinyl records and stuff in their own right.
wait,
So,
what was
my
what
uncle,
was the name of their
my
group?
uncle's band
Yeah.
was Larry and the Sunshine Pebbles.
Okay, I'm writing that down because I gotta check that. I gotta check that out because I love that kind of stuff.
Yep, they made some nice little
Sunshine Pebbles.
Sunshine Pebbles is what they were.
Nice. Great. God, what a great fucking name of a band.
I
Because
was
I'm like the worst when like I was like trying to come up with a band name for these guys I'm working with in this couple in Australia, and I was like, how about Foot? Because it's so stupid. I'm like,
I
Foot. Like what the fuck? Like what? Like foot. You know? How about how about thumb? I'm like, why am I like naming body parts? That's how about lamp? I don't. Yeah. How are you at naming bands?
terrible. I'm
Yeah.
super terrible. My artist name literally is just my city with my name.
Because I was wondering, and sorry I like called you Drew, but I
No, you are
thought
perfectly fine. That's
no,
all
because
that.
I'm like, well, you're a DJ, so I'm like, oh, that's like your like Yaketown, right? So I was like,
Hmm.
oh, that's like your DJ name. Like it's
It
I was like, oh, it's like Yaketown in quotes or something. I was like, so I felt bad about that because I'm just like one of the worst things you can do, is like not call somebody by their name
yeah.
and just I was like, oh shit, like oh fuck, like Yaketown, Drew. And so and I know it's funny, Andrew, because we all have our Jacob Tell is my stage name, my real name is Ryan. So it's like we all have our sort of secret identities.
Yeah.
Um, but I apologize for that. So your dad would he play with your uncle, and is he on those any?
So I'm not so sure if he's on the album. I have to ask him. That's a great question. I have to ask him now. Like, did you ever make it onto one of the albums?
Yeah.
But I know the original band was my uncle as the lead singer, as the male vocal that you hear mostly, and my
Right.
grandmother and a few of my
Wow.
aunties were the backup
So
female
you come from
vocals.
like a really musical family.
Yes, sir. Right now, so if I don't know if a lot of well, after this, a lot of people will know it. So right now in my family, I have at least one radio po personality that's in St. Louis right now. His name is Scooter Thomas. He's
Oh,
right now
cool.
on not Praise Radio. He moved from there. I don't know what the new one is.
Okay.
But he is on the radio show in St. Louis. I have another
Nice.
I have another family member that is working as a trumpeter. He normally works with artists as like Beyonce. He was on Beyonce album not too
Oh,
long
wow.
ago. Yeah. I actually reached out to him when I very first started music to get some advice, and
Oh, yeah.
he was the person that kind of kept me going. I was like,
What did he tell you?
I asked him because I had hit my wall.
Yeah.
I had hit a wall again, and I was like, I kind of feel like I'm just gonna do the producing thing. I was like, I don't feel like I have nothing to say no more. I was like, nothing sounds good
Oh,
to
that's the
me.
worst feeling, right?
I was like,
When you're
nothing
like,
sounds good to me
yeah,
no more. I was like, everything I say just doesn't hit it. It
because
doesn't.
we have no control. I've just been like, fortunately, since I got back into it, I'm like, just it's coming out of nowhere. And I think it's just because I'm like more open to this sort of concept of being a conduit.
Mhm.
Like I'll just like let it come to me. And I
Yeah,
sort of feel like if I stop writing, I'm gonna die. Like I know that's not,
not how it is, but
logical in any
yeah.
way, but it's like I'm just sort of like inspired by, and I think it's like a lot of it comes to just sort of where you are.
Hmm.
But I know that feeling, like anytime I sit down and I'm like, I'm gonna write a song, can't do it.
Can't do
You
it.
know? When you sit down and you're just like, yeah, let's see where the chords take me. It's gotta like it's gotta come from that.
That space, that natural environment of, oh, like sometimes I know I hear a song and it just instantly triggers me, but like,
Mhm.
oh, that would be a perfect song. And be like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna write
but it's
that
like
down.
it's in your head though, right? It's like
Yep,
you're like where did that come from?
exactly. You're like, where did that spring of inspiration just come from?
Yeah, and I've really gotten into like just the like hitting the vocal memo on the iPad and just being like blah 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 blah, blah, finding the chords
Hmm.
and just getting it down, and then I'll come back to it and I'll be like, "Oh, like what the hell? Like that's pretty good. Like that's
Yeah.
gonna but so sorry. So he was you asked him for advice and he what did he tell you?
He told me that, if this is something that you really want to keep doing, let it be a natural moment. Let it actually naturally come to you and enjoy making music. If you don't enjoy making your own music, then it
Yeah.
might be that time to stop. And I say, no, I enjoy still making music. It's just I didn't feel like I was going anywhere really with the music for say. I was like, I just feel like I'm over here recording. That's all.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't feel like my music had purpose no more. It just felt like I was just putting a bunch of words together. And
Yeah.
he was like, well then find. He was like, well then try to put more of you into the song.
Mm.
He said, even if you are storytelling about something of another person, or even if you are projecting yourself as trying to see yourself in this position in life, he
Yeah.
said, just make it more personal. He said, that's what's going to make the song sound better to you first, is if you
Yeah.
make it more personalized to you. So I said,
And
oh,
that's what makes it, it's like the more specific, the more universal
yep,
it becomes, right?
yep.
Because it's like that's because I think for me the thing that's and I'm a lot like you. I had on my mom's side, my all her uncles were musicians,
Mm,
and
wow.
they were like like saxophone and trumpet, and then the one I was closest to, my great uncle Teddy, he was just like all around musician guy. And he also was just like he would just record stuff because he had to. He never released anything. He just had a studio and he would go in there and he wrote some great stuff, but he was such I think the thing that he instilled in me the most was always be open to ideas, right? Like I feel like when I write a song, it's like a blueprint. Like that's why I love working with Don Douglas, my producer, is his ideas are always like way better than mine, and I'm just like open to he'll be like okay, well like and the way his direction is so great because it's never like do it this way. It's more of like a philosophical
Yeah,
insight into something that like triggers the inspiration. But being open or working with Ivy and Mick from Australia, it's like just being like open to and also like surrounding yourself with like the things I look for in collaborators is people who are genuine and honest and supportive, but also if the people I want to work with, like if I am intimidated by their talent, right? By their
yeah,
skill, I want to work with them because
yeah.
that's how I'm going to learn and I'm going to get better. And
Yep,
you run into the problem in this business is there's so many people who are not in it for the right reasons, which is
exactly.
like I just want to make great music. Like I don't care about anything else because once you get it out there, it's out there and are people going to be listening to it 30 years from now? Are people going to find it 30 years from now, 50 years from now, right? That's the real test. It
That
has
is.
nothing to do like take your ego out of it
Yep.
completely. But there's so many people who get like jealous and envious of other people. And instead, it's like, no, embrace, support. And it like I know what I can bring to the table, and I want to work with people who are gonna, help me learn, elevate the sound.
Exactly.
And like I'm, like Mick, who I'm working with now, he comes up with way better bass parts than me, and I play bass on the stuff we're doing, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just do that part.
Exactly.
Like,
I got you. Yeah.
I don't have like I'm not like no, I got to do my own part. I'm like I because I couldn't come up with that. So and it makes, it makes me learn a lot more. But
Yes.
I wish that that sort of type of personality didn't exist. The person who is just like, well, I'm just, in it for myself and I want to be, I want to be famous and
Yeah.
that doesn't mean anything to me because I mean, like we were talking about it's like I write because I have to. It's like, it's like oxygen to me. And when I'm
Hmm.
not writing, like I understand like the feeling of hitting that wall and you're like, I got nothing to say and how horrible it is
Yeah.
because it's like to me, oh God, my hair is just wonderful this morning, but it's like to me that's the whole the that when you're creating something when you're that moment of creation but then when you're able to like mold it into something just all of those things and getting the input and making it better like it's that whole like I love like like writing and recording I love that it's all the other stuff the promoting and the getting yourself out there on social media it can get like it can get really soul sucking
Yes, it
you're like
can.
why am I doing this and there's it's like there's so many people because I'm just very much into like you know always pressing okay new music or check out this video check out this single but I never want to be like look at this thing I accomplished like
Yeah.
that kind of like I guess any kind of like sort of like swagger I'm like achieving and you're not kind of stuff.
It's never been something I could do either. Like
Yeah.
when people ask, not music wise, but when people ask me like bowling, I'm an avid bowler and I'm pretty good at it. I wouldn't say I'm pro level, but
Right.
I could hold my own if
Mm.
on the right day and I catch them on the wrong day, I could hold my own. But
Right.
But when they ask me those things and how good I am, I normally always downplay. I'm like, "Oh, nah, I'm pretty okay." Like
Right.
I never tell people I got a handful of perfect scores. I've almost shot 800 20 something times. Like I try to be the most humblest person when it comes to I'm like, because
Wow.
when it comes to bowling, I'm like, you can always be the bat, you can always be the dog, or you can be the pins one day where you get a knocked down and knocked back
Well,
all
I
day.
am one of the worst bowlers you could possibly meet. And I had the one moment in my life where I felt like I was cool. It was a Valentine's Day and a buddy of mine was setting me up with this woman and we were going to I don't know if it's still around but Bowmore Lanes in Brooklyn and I was like just talking about how terrible I was the whole the whole way over right
Hmm.
and we get there and of course I get up and I hit a strike I don't know how and I was just like, oh wow, I'm like a hustler. Like I felt like, yeah. And then of course the rest of the night just terrible. But
He
for that,
said,
I mean there's like gutter ball after gutter because I'm just like not my spatial awareness is terrible. I bump into walls. I'm just not there's something about like I love guitar and bass. I can really, I'm trying to always get better at piano, but there's something about like that small muscle movement or
yeah,
whatever. But
that's how I felt about violin at first. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this. I was like, I'm kind of, but when I took it and I was like, oh, it's pretty easy. But
really,
yeah, I actually liked the
oh,
violin. I did violin and trumpet as a kid for most of my time in school, early elementary, and I would definitely choose violin over trumpet.
can you still play or do you ever use those instruments?
I haven't used the trumpet in a long time, but the violin I probably could still play. I
Nice.
I know right now I do not have the lungs for a trumpet. I would have to definitely get back in shape for that. That is a lot of
It's amazing. It's amazing to me, like those, like all those, like violin, like brass and strings, like
yes.
all those instruments where. the reeds, all those instruments where it like I just don't understand. Like I just, but I'm like, I love listening to it. Like I love and like watching the people play and like the oboe is like one of my favorite.
Me
I
too.
love the way that,
Don't
and
know
it's like,
how that
yeah,
instrument works at all, but I'm like, it's got a
no clue.
beautiful sound.
Yeah, no clue. And it's sort of like you kind of don't want to. I mean, that's why I've always sort of, although I've lately really gotten into music theory, but really just sort of like for chord voicings, like not like anything like because music theory is something that I always was like, well, there's like that magic to music that
Yeah.
you kind of don't want to you want to keep that magic there because I mean, what is it? The four chord songs. The like Let It Be, right? Those four chords. A C, A minor, um, F and G. Those are the those are the only there's like so many four chord songs
Right.
that are like amazing. And it's sort of I mean, adding to Springsteen always reminds me of sort of like don't get too caught up in because you can always layer things and make them
Hmm.
more like that's what I love about like Darkness on the Edge of Town. Every song has like this very natural feel to it.
Yeah,
um
it's not over compact with sounds and trying to layer in too many
no,
different instances. It's just
it's
what's
like
needed.
every single note that's on every one of those and you have Clarence comes in on I think he's only on two tracks on the album. Uh Night Badlands being the opening track is probably the I think that's the most famous song off the record. But again, like he's very like Springsteen's very like, oh no, like there doesn't need to be sax on this record. Just there's just like a lot of restraint on his part. But like it's also when he starts like getting away from all the theory and just sort of, okay, I'm just gonna play this song. And he ended up they used 10 songs. He recorded like 37 songs during that session and he picked 10. But that's the other thing that I miss about albums is you could only fit a certain amount
Mind the songs on there.
on the vinyl. So
Yeah.
it's like you had to be really the artists would record way more than would end up, and
Yeah.
sometimes they'd use it for the next album, or sometimes it would just end up, it's like they'd release it as a
Yeah.
rarity or whatever. But there was something about, and that's what I miss because I still always listen to albums and think of things in terms of because there's like a there's always like the best albums always have like there's like a theme
Yeah, like a
like
story
a
to be
general.
told.
Yeah, like music in the key of life has
Yep.
like every song on that album like needs to be there.
Yeah.
There's like a flow to it, and I miss that, and I think I hear a lot about people going back to physical media, and I'm like, I'm all for that because there really is something about holding it
Yeah.
and owning it because you don't own it if you're just streaming
Streaming it.
something
Yeah.
and you also I think like a lot of stuff that's released today it's just like a greatest hits.
Yes.
It's like yeah.
And
It's like this a bunch of singles, yeah.
yeah, it's just a bunch of singles nowadays, and then you had heard the single for maybe 2, 3 years, and then finally it comes to an album. You're like, well, we didn't been heard this. We didn't heard this for the past 3 years. You didn't already drop two albums in between that 3 years.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
like, what's the point of making it now? You could have just left it as a single. And nowadays, especially to me in the hip hop culture, or the themes and storytelling of the albums ain't there no more.
Mm,
You might get the one song that might be the name of the album overall, and you be like, but
right.
that had nothing. The rest of these songs had basically nothing to do with the album. They was just
Yeah.
feel good songs that you threw on there. I'm, it's not
Right,
like
because it's like a collection
of greatest hits that you just put all your
or
greatest
like,
singles.
each one of these songs could be a single. They're
Hmm.
great, but like what's the overall? I mean, I think that's what I miss the most about like when you look at like up until the really up until the CDs started coming out.
Hmm.
I feel like albums had more of sort of even there was like just a more the mood. There
Yeah.
was the over there was like a sort of the music was all of a piece. It was all I don't know, there
Hmm.
was just a lot more like why they selected certain songs and
Yeah.
the
Cause he,
order of the songs
yeah,
was
cause
so
even with
important.
cassette tapes, it was the same way. You
Yeah.
Like I could still remember my older cousins talking about how they used to burn cassette tapes for certain individuals that was themed.
Yeah. No,
Like,
mixtapes. Yeah.
like I'm
Yeah.
like, so even back then, even as a listener, a fan of a musical artist, you were still making your own version of a mixtape that was themed. Be like, oh, I liked it. This girl, she looked pretty in this blue dress. You finding all songs that got blue dresses mentioned in it.
No,
So,
that was like, there was nothing, when you'd make mixtapes for a girl, she'd make a mixtape for you. And it was always like every song, it was like, curating song. I mean, like the playlists right
yep,
now, only they were so personal because you had to like burn it and you had to
yes,
like the order. And if you're like, no, this is got to start over. It was like it was a really
very,
artistic way
yes.
of putting stuff together, and I miss that.
I do too.
Yeah, I
I
really miss.
I definitely miss the times of sitting up to the radio with your phone or something trying to record and be like,
Yeah,
everybody shut up so I can record this song.
yeah, because
'Cause
that
you,
was like you had that and maybe MTV, and that was like the only way you could hear
yep,
music,
and you
and
never know when you're gonna hear it again. You're like, oh, it's gonna be like
well,
two, 3 weeks.
I remember when Creep came out, right? And by Radiohead in the 90s. And it was like K-Rock was the only radio station playing that. And me and my friends would just have K-Rock on the background all the time, waiting for that song to come on.
Yeah,
Because when I first heard it, you didn't know who the hell Radiohead
nope,
was,
nope.
and talk about four chord songs, right? But it's like it was just you were just instantly like, what? This is amazing. And I miss that because it turned it like turned, it was that sort of collective fandom that would start, and you could bond with people by like just the music you listen to. And
Yeah,
I don't know, now I just think I just there's it's just the way that we listen to music. We have our earbuds on
yeah.
and we kind of like it's to tune out the world. And I
Hmm.
feel like it was to tune in
Into the world. Yeah,
before.
you have to go to the
Yeah.
record store and you will go to your favorite section. You'll be listening to the headphones, and then somebody
Uh-huh.
else will come over and be like, "Oh, I was looking at that album too. That's
Hmm.
one of my favorites." You be like, "You
Yeah.
too?" And now you got just met a new lifelong friend because now you meeting up on at the
No,
record store.
and that's what I miss, right? That like vibing because you get there's nothing more personal than like what kind of music you like,
Right. Exactly.
and finding people who love that music. Yeah, it's like a way to meet you, like you said, like a new lifelong friend who you're just like, yeah, we just like the same music, but that sort of, means so many other because your values are
Yeah,
usually the
you like,
same, and like your outlook on life is usually the same because
yep.
it's like, I was in the dark when I heard that, and that song I connected with it and like made me feel like I was a part of something bigger. So there's like this all these other aspects to music. Very cool. Miss it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely miss it too. I'm so happy that right around now that vinyl records is making a resurgence and everything. It is kind of nice to see. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's nice to see that the younger kids is actually like, oh, you know what? I actually want the physical copy of my music now. Like,
Well,
yeah,
yeah. And I feel like, I'm because I'm always very wary of generation bashing because I was as a Gen Xer. the boomers were always saying we were slackers and
Yeah.
all, yeah, we were slackers. Meanwhile, they were, turning, entry level positions into unpaid internships and, raising, making it, jobs where you didn't need to have bachelor's, making it a
The
requirement.
requirement. Yep.
And it's like come on, dude. Like you can't, so I'm just very much against like when people are like, oh, like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and because I find a lot when I talk to, when I have an opportunity to talk to younger people, I'm always blown away by how intelligent they are.
Exactly.
And and what I love about Alpha is they're just like, fuck all this shit. They're like, socialism sounds good to me. And now they're rejecting the confinement of social media
Hmm.
because it's like not real life. It's not you're in a there are ways to use it like this where you're able to connect with people, but they're going analog. They're looking
Yeah.
at vinyl. They're looking at okay, we're going to go out and not take our phones
Yep.
with us. Because I'm like, I hate cell phones. Like I loved the 90s were great because we didn't have social media, we didn't have cell phones. Those things are goddamn tracking devices. And I mean, I got burnt out from work because when I was a grant writer, because my boss could always reach me email, texts.
Hmm.
And it was like you're on call 24/7. When you wake up in the morning and you see 10 texts from your boss and you haven't even brushed your teeth yet. You haven't had your coffee yet and you're just like I think I want to stay in bed. Like this is
Yeah.
just like this is at,
Yes.
it's like it's a tracking device, and it used to be you left someone a message in my day. No, but what I miss is like when you left someone a message on their voicemail, you had like a day or two to get back to them. Now it's like if you don't text someone right away, if you don't email them back right away, it's like,
It's like they getting
what's
their
up? Like,
feelings like, oh, you ghosted me. You don't want to talk to me no more. You just
yeah,
ignoring me. Like life does happen.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
sometimes you can plan to do something one day and then you get to that day and something didn't happen. That's why I normally
yeah,
try to tell people, hey, I might come, but let me tell you on the day exactly
yeah,
if I am coming, because if not, I don't know what'll happen on that day. You might wake up that day, your car don't start. You like, but if you want me to drive 10 hours with no car, I,
yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Or you're just like not in that. You're like, I don't want to be around people. Like
It,
I just want to stay home and do my own stuff. Or yeah, it's just and that's what I miss about sort of the way again in my day when we cooked a baked potato. No, but I felt like it was like you'd call your friend, it was like a group would go out and you'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna be at Cafe Med until 10, and then we're gonna be heading over, to this bar, and we're gonna be there, and we're just gonna be hanging out, and come by if you want to, come by if you don't." And there was it'd be great to see you, and it was like the freedom of that because you're like, oh, I don't have to be there at like 8 o'clock. I can
yeah,
come by when I come by, and if they're not there, I'll go to the next place or whatever. There was just people were more, oh, hey, we just went here too. You'd get like you check your voicemail, call your voicemail on the payphone, check it. I just like that because it was just more organic, and it was just like because now it's like that because there's like you always have fun when it's spontaneous.
it- yes.
But when you plan ahead, it's like that's why like New Year, it's always like, the fun must be it's like we have to have
Have
fun.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't plan for fun because it becomes like
Almost
if
like
I'm
work.
not yeah, it's totally like work. It's like, and that's what I feel about most, like, because we don't sort of organically see each other so much anymore, and it's always like a planned thing. It's like, oh, it's like this cookout I gotta go to, or this I got to go see this band even. And I'm like, wait a second, I love music. Like, what the hell is going on? But it's like the plan. Oh, I've known about this for 2 weeks.
Right. Like, now I had to go
And
actually go to it.
yeah, and now I gotta, oh, like it's after work and I gotta like change and I gotta like, where it is. And it's like
Yep.
all of these things that normally you would just be, if you were told, like if you were at work and somebody was like, oh, hey, we're gonna go see this band at like 7 tonight. You'd
You
be
be
like, ah,
you be so
yeah.
excited, you be nervous the whole day, like, oh my God, what am I gonna wear? What am I going
You wouldn't even do, but you'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll be there. I'll go there right after work. Like there,
Yep.
I don't know, the same sort of just all that anxiety or whatever
It just
wasn't.
goes away. It
Yeah, and of course, COVID like broke us
it
all
broke it. It
because
broke us all
yeah.
because I was so used to just getting a random phone call from my friends on a Friday night or Saturday night, like, "Hey, we're going to the club. You want to go out? We're going to see this
Mhm.
this DJ."
Mhm.
I'm not doing nothing. Yeah, I'll show up. I'll be there in a couple
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, and you were like, oh, I want to go out. Whereas like COVID was like this,
Can't do nothing. You got
like the
to
whole
sit
time
in
I'm
a
like, is this like
house.
an okay way of like, like I don't know if you can see me okay or anything. If I've been like the whole time like, so then I realized that Spain. No, I did. Yeah, okay, okay,
You've been
okay.
okay
Cool.
this whole
Yeah.
time.
Tell me, right? You would let me know. You'd be like, yeah, I just
Like I only see
I
half
can't.
of you.
Yeah, I don't I don't because I'm not. Yeah, I'm
I don't know if you can hear it, but as I just find this funny, like how we was talking about Motown, and my mom right now is literally in the background playing "Lovely Day" by Bill was about Bill Withers.
I can't hear it, but I love it. I love it. I wish my mom and dad were more into music because my mom would always put in the Helen Reddy 8 track and and then I saw and so to me like in the 70s as a kid just listening to Helen Reddy and I Am Woman Hear Me Roar and Angie Baby and she was the way she looked on the cover. And then years later, I saw her in a play, and she was like in her mid 60s, late 60s, and she opened the show. It opened with her. It was this play called Blood Brothers, and it was in New York, and I was seeing it on Broadway. It was a great production. But when I saw her, I was like, ah, like, hell, what happened to you?
Like,
What,
oh my
what,
God.
wait, you're not Helen Ruddy. What the hell? Because it's like, what was that? There was a movie where it's like you can't like don't show the go show the old show how the person looks now
Now,
and
yeah.
then go back. Never show how they looked when they were young and show
And
them
then
now because it's like the brain. You're just like what?
like that was
Don't.
not my first impression of you. Oh my God.
Mm. It was really wild. And then of course, I got over it because I was like, wait, yeah, I mean
Like
it's
that
like
that
20
makes
years
sense.
have
Right.
passed.
Like that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. But there, yeah, we get, but no, so I wish, it's great that your mom exposed you to such amazing music because it was
Yeah.
my parents were just not, it was more like my mom very much what she was influential on me was she was always into fine art. So sculptures and paintings, she was always dragging me to any when here in LA LA LACMA and when we went to New York, they're both originally from New York. I mean, the Guggenheim and the Met, and
Yeah.
my favorite. Oh God, and of course because I'm having a senior moment. Oh my, I can't even think of it. But God, what the hell was the museum? Because it was this retrospective of. I'll never forget the first time I went there. It was this retrospective on Nan Golden, this photographer, and she had the exhibition that was on was called the Diary of was like the diary of like sexual deviance or something. And it was just a very personal, but there was a quote from her and it said, I feel like I'm always the last person invited to the party.
Mm.
And I was like, that's exactly how I
Okay.
feel.
Yeah.
Like just because I think as artists we're so we wear our hearts on our sleeves as much as we try to hide it. We have to be sensitive. We have to be
Be
empathetic and
yeah.
compassionate. And that's another thing is it has an effect on you. I mean, it
Mhm.
takes that takes a toll on you. But I just remember reading that and being like, yeah, that's exactly
Yeah, how it feels.
how I feel. Like for no reason whatsoever. There's no like physical evidence of that.
Yeah,
But just that feeling of of not going with the flow,
yeah,
right? Of and also I feel like there's two types of people. There are planners and there are
yeah.
improvisers. And I'm an improviser.
Definitely improviser.
Yeah. And I feel like we're in this world where planners are constantly ruining it for us.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have a plan.
Like, but I just like going with the flow. I don't know when tomorrow is going to really hold. I don't even know if I'm gonna
Well,
wake up tomorrow.
I mean, there's that joke, how do you make God laugh? Make a plan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really so much a joke. I guess it's more of a saying. But that's like another sort of thing I heard, and I was like, yeah, that there's so much truth in that.
Yeah, because
Like,
you never know it whenever you plan something, how much can go wrong just from that plan. You be like, oh my God, yeah, that plan is way in the water now. Like, yep.
that's what I love about like music and when it's like you always have to go with the flow.
Hmm.
Like there's no way to because if it feels forced, it's gonna
It's gonna
affect
stop.
everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's such a delicate thing. Like it can so easily like there's and I just feel like there's a lot of stuff coming out right now, especially with indie music. It just feels overproduced. It feels there's like too much going on, and it's like no, like believe in like the rawness of.
Yes.
But I also just like that raw sound,
Me
so
too.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
me too.
gravitate toward it. And also like I love like keeping mistakes in because especially in this day of AI.
Yep. I've said the same thing. I've made a couple songs where I literally have accidentally let my lisp or me not being able to actually say the word fully
Yeah,
come out, and I'm be like, oh, attention. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should take that out. But then I hear it back and I'm like, but it sounds kind of good in that part.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
No, happy mistakes
yep, happy
happen.
mistakes. One of the very first producers that I worked with that I actually still work with to this day, he was the very first person to hear me say what, and he was like, I like the way you slurred that word. I was like,
Ah.
you liked it, my speech impediment, basically.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, there's like that's like the thing I realize. Like the reason why I love working with Don is he's you're always best when your delivery is mellow. So anytime I try to get too dramatic
Hmm.
or try to like, he's like, no, 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 slow down. Like,
This,
like
this
just
just,
believe in it. Like,
yep.
slow down. And I get like the feedback a lot. Like this song was really, depressing, but it was like performed in such a mellow way. It was like hard hard to not kind of just vibe to it and I'm like yeah like that's really cool like I like just kind of like slow things down and because sometimes we like want to like I am
Yeah,
this is
you,
not my guy so, and it's like yeah no and just like you said yeah like I've gotten into because it's always been like I said insecurity of mine is just how nasal my voice can get and just I'm just like, can people even understand through
yeah.
all that? It just sort of sounds like can this guy needs to take a Sudafed or something? Is there some Afrin you can give this guy? And now I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna that's just the way I sound. And somebody else, if they want to do it, they
They
can
can
do
do it
it.
to it. Yep.
And I'm sure, that's like, always cool if somebody wants to do your song and they sing it better. You're
I
like,
would never have a problem with it. I really wouldn't. That's what made me start making a couple more of my R&B tracks that I've done so far. I think I've done probably three or four going
oh.
into it now. But I'm
You
like,
should you should send me some of those
I
send me some
definitely.
MP3s because I'd love to because that really I love R&B and it's something like I'm very much like I don't want to be
Mhm.
white guy sounding like a person of color and not and like I said there are some people who can pull it off but I'm just very, very sensitive to that. But it's just like it's a genre that I can, because you need such skill as a songwriter, I can just enjoy it because I'm like, I would never, ever, I'll be inspired by it, but I'll never write a song like this, you
Hmm.
know, and perform it this way. It's like taking a vacation from myself. It's like a
Yeah.
wonderful, yeah.
That was my when how I felt when I very first wrote the first one is I literally wrote it while hearing a specific song singer in
Mm,
my head. I'm like, but I can't sound like that. And so it kind of
mm.
threw me off for a while that I didn't record it. I was like, I'm never going to record this song because I just can't hit that vocal range like them. And once again, my producer was like, but you got a decent singing voice. You just stay
Yeah,
at your octave. I was like, but it's not supposed to be in that octave. I didn't write it to be in that octave. I wrote it to sound like this, but
yeah.
make it sound like you. I'm like, okay.
Just change the key. I mean, go to that key that you're comfortable. Remember, like there are some artists who just they're always, it's like F sharp, and you're like, that's a weird key, but that's their
That's them.
key.
Yeah, that's them. I'm
You know what's
like,
interesting is I wrote a song called Trad Wife that I'm recording right now, and it was like there's going to be 11 tracks on Hard to Be Human, the five singles that are up on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever you purchase your streaming or listen to your streaming. But there's six other tracks, and a late addition is this song this song called Trad Wife. And I wrote it for Ivy, who's this singer I know. Mick and Ivy are these two musicians I'm working with in Adelaide, Australia. And I wrote it for Ivy, and I wrote the lyrics and everything for Ivy. And I did a demo of it, and I started playing it for some friends of mine, and they were like, "This is the best thing you've ever written." And I was like, "Oh," and so I think there's something about writing for somebody else
hmm
where you're like not you're there, you're into it, you're fully committed to it, but you've again, it's like whenever you take yourself out of it, like what happens
and let
is you
yourself be a
start,
conduit. It's like a whole different out of
yeah,
body experience. Yes.
but you're also like more open to going to places that you normally wouldn't because
Yep.
you're like, oh well, I'm not going to be singing this,
Yep. I did the
so
same thing for my cousin. I tried to write her a song when she was going through like a little relationship stroke. I said, okay, I could.
mm,
I heard her singing one day. I said, oh, you sing real good. I'll write you a song. And I had
yeah,
wrote it for her and I'm starting to sing it and she was like, oh, would you do this part for me? I said, oh, no, no, no. This is all
yeah,
you. I wrote this specifically for you. I
mm,
can't do that part. She said, but you sounded so good with doing that part. And then if we do a duet part over it, it would sound real good.
mm,
I was like, I don't know. I'm like, matching up to you, and then you gonna be overshadow me. You sound good. I'm like, I don't want to be overshadowed. I'm like,
right,
I was like, I don't want to
right,
take
but
from you. I was like, because I don't know, we not knowing how it's gonna fully sound. So I was like, I don't know. But she definitely trying to convince me to do it. But I'm like, it's your song. I wrote it for you.
yeah. Yeah. So did you end up singing on the song, or were you
We
like,
haven't recorded it yet, so
okay.
I end up moving from Michigan. I now currently live in South Dakota,
Okay,
and
cool.
so everybody that I normally musically worked with is still in Michigan, and so
Mm,
I'm basically rebuilding my whole entire musical by myself. Actually, I started doing my own production, but I do send it off. I still send it off to him for the final mix, master, and listen. I'm like,
cool.
you always gonna be my first listening party. I was like, I was like, if it make it past you, it'll make it to everybody else. But if it don't make it past you,
Yeah.
this is going right in the
Yeah.
trash can.
Yeah. No, I mean, but you need that
Yeah,
because sometimes it's like, especially if it's like, oh, well, this is, you've already done this, like,
yeah.
or whatever. But that's cool. Yeah. I gotta get out of Los Angeles because it's just, you know,
No,
fucking
I understand. I said the same thing
crazy.
about
Yeah.
Michigan. I once I had a couple of things that actually, as they say, knocked on the doorstep and actually almost hit the
Yeah.
family. And it was like, okay, all right, maybe you should start thinking about moving and actually progressing. And then when I hit that road, I don't know, roadblock number 100,000 or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need something that's actually making me happy and bringing me some
Yeah.
actual inspiration, not just from actually listening to music, but from life as well. And
Yeah.
I told people I could go through the dramatic stuff that I was going through Michigan all the time and make music from it, but
Mm.
I'm not a sad music maker. I like to be energetic, happy, nice
Right.
uplifted vibe, laid back vibe.
Yeah.
I'm a I like to be one of those artists that like if you listen to my song, you get you a glass of whiskey, get you a cigar, whatever you like to you smoke on, and you
Nice.
turn me on and you sit back and this is your song to listen to. That's me.
See, I like listening to music like that. I think that I love playing. I'm always attracted to sort of like these darker subject matters or these like sad love songs,
Hmm.
but you gotta have fun doing it.
Yeah,
And also it's like once you kind of work through all that darkness, you're fine.
you're fine.
You're like you're like I did that. Like I'm over it. Like
And
I'm totally cool now.
yeah.
So it like sort of makes you like I mean people like a lot of people when they meet me are surprised by my, just my demeanor and my personality because they're like, "Oh, I thought you would be like brooding and like monosyllabic and like just like a world dark and terrible." And it's like, "No, I like, I got that off my chest. I said that. I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
all good.
Like, I'm all
It's
good now.
yeah, it's but I'm always sort of like drawn to these but I love there's nothing like a great, pop song or R&B song or hip hop song that's like makes you feel fucking good and makes you feel like, like yeah, I want to go out and I want to fucking like I can't dance, but I love watching, people dance and I love being around people and it's like yeah, this makes me want to like go to a bar and
Yeah.
like order a double Jameson neat and just kind of sit back and enjoy, and I love there's that kind of music is fucking awesome and it, again it's like because it's not what I would that I would do. I'm like it's like not only can I connect with the song but I just enjoy it and
Hmm.
not get into
And
the
start dissecting everything about the
yeah
song. That's why I like
yeah
listening to pop and indie
hmm
music and rock. Like when I was explaining to people, they was like, "Well, what are you interviewing?" I was like, "I'm interviewing artists that's more indie rock, more folk rock." They was like, "That's not normally what you do. You're more hip hop." I was like, "I know I'm more hip hop."
right
I said, "But when you actually go outside of your genre, you actually get
yeah
to appreciate the music and you actually get to listen to the song and you get the feel and the raw emotion that the artist put into the song. And
yeah
you just sit there like, wow, this person was either you might be like, oh, this person was going through something, or they was really in love. Like,
That's why when I was involved with this group that I left, it was like always the songs in the genres that weren't my own that I enjoyed listening to the most
mhm,
because I wouldn't normally if you put it on the playlist and then it made me, because yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna listen to Alabama Shakes, I'm gonna listen to Al Green, I'm gonna listen to Nina Simone, but I'm saying like the newer stuff that's being done, the indie stuff,
mhm,
I'm gonna gravitate toward, well, what's going on in indie rock, what's going on in folk rock, what, in prog rock,
mhm,
but it's like if you put it on a playlist and I'm always gravitating toward the stuff that's not in my genre. I'm
yep,
still not a fan of heavy metal. I if the song is good, it's good.
yep.
But there's just a lot of songs that are just it's like uh if it's just loud or if it's just
Yeah,
it's just sort of like
that's
or the one and this is my big issue is just the ambient stuff drives me crazy.
that's me in death metal. That is me in death metal. I
That
am
you like death metal or you
Nah,
just
it's a if it sound good, I can listen to it all day, every day. But I'm not a huge person that's just
You're not
loud.
huge,
I'm
yeah.
not huge on the just loud screaming at me the whole entire
Right.
time.
Or like I'm not a shredder. So, but like the guitarists I really like. I mean like obviously like all like okay, like George Harrison and Eric Clapton, they were just I mean Jimi Hendrix aside, but like Peter Green, all the guitarists that I grew up listening to trying to imitate, they were all playing B.B. King. They were all playing blues riffs that
hmm
came from Chicago and Detroit from the fucking, 30s and 40s. And so you start listening to those guys and it's always like the way like I love blues guitar because it's always it's slow
It's
and
very slow.
it's like it's so powerful and it's like I'm
It's
gonna stay on this fucking note,
hmm
but it yeah.
I have a friend that's actually who's a newer blues singer now, and
Mm.
he was he had showed a little snippet of his song, and it's called Mama Said, and I'm like listening to him like this is one, I wouldn't imagine you doing this. That's one.
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
two, this is welly put together and it sounds so good. Even though it's just like you said, probably four chords or and this part that he snippet is him on the same chord, just
Yeah.
repeating Mama said. But I'm like, it sounds so good, and I actually know what he's like, I could feel it in what he's saying
Yeah.
after Mama said with my own interpretations of the song. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? My mama would say that. It's
There was also like, do you remember Living Color, the band, not the show?
hmm
They did Cult of Personality, and
Yes.
one of my favorite songs of all time, Open Letter to a Landlord. And they were all, they were all black musicians and they were metal.
Would you believe that when they brought CM Punk out of at WrestleMania, that was my first time actually seeing them and fully knowing that they were African American and people of
Yeah,
color. That was my very first time understanding.
it's wild,
I was like,
right?
the
Yeah.
people who did Call a Personality,
Yeah.
I was like, who else knew this? Did anybody else
Yeah.
know this?
No, but there's something about being surprised by that
Yeah, that I think
that's really cool.
I
Yeah,
think
you're
it's
like,
like how
oh,
when Ice-T was I finally heard Ice-T and he was in a band. He was in a rock
yeah,
band. I was like, Ice-T is in a band?
yeah.
And the song was it was fire. It was
Oh, I'm
crazy.
sure.
It was
I'm sure.
the band was called Body Count and I forgot what the name of this was.
No, I no, I've heard some of their stuff. Yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you're.
so
Yeah, it was more like punk hard rock,
yeah.
and yeah, it was great. But like I guess like I love music that I mean, again, this is going back to like my delivery of things. It's like sort of a mellow melancholy. But like I love songs that like take their time and are
hmm
just like, I mean, I think that's why like listening to like Easy, right? That song is in no rush.
No rush at all.
It's not going anywhere. And or when Al Green and Nina Simone, like she'll turn a 5 minute song into an 18-minute song, and you're
Yeah.
you're there on every note going, what's happening now?
Yeah.
But it's just like just songs that are like, take your time. And it's like the playing, you can hear the notes. And it's again, it's not, I mean, that's like going back to great blues guitar, is they'll be playing slowly and then they'll speed it up and then they'll slow it down and then they'll do things and you're like, what, huh, what the, what, I don't, it's so good. But you can hear it. And I mean, all I do whenever I try not to play lead guitar, because I'm a rhythm guy and I'm always like really into coming up with creative ways to be, rhythm guitarists where it's so funny whenever I talk to lead guitarists, they're always like, oh man, I couldn't do what you do. And I'm like, well, I couldn't do what you do. Like it's like, but anytime I play, I have to, like if I'm doing my own stuff, my producer is always like, you can do this, like you can play, come on. But it's always like I'm always just ripping off, the blues riffs that or trying to put a variation on it.
Right.
Uh, and I'm gonna play slow, and I'm not gonna try to force it, because if I do, it's gonna sound.
It's
But I
like,
don't like that, like sort of the sound of like a shredded guitar. I'm
see,
not.
me neither. I don't mind a good guitar riff, especially I would say, hey, what's one that's a good one that's not too super shredded, but it's nice and ambient.
Yeah.
I
Well,
always I always like those ones.
I'm a like I'm not a big Eagles fan, although I do love their second album, Desperado, because it's a concept album. And but like Life in the Fast Lane,
Yeah,
the Joe Walsh riff, that
yeah.
that's a great riff.
That's
Or all the riffs that fucking Slash came up with, like Welcome to the Jungle. He always came up with these riffs. Like I think Slash is an amazing guitarist. He also takes his time.
yeah.
Like his solo on Patience. Patience was a great song. Remember, to like a little patience,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a
It
little.
yeah.
But he always on his solos, he would like you listen to the way he plays, and sometimes it's sped up a little bit, but he was really inspired by Hendrix and all the blues guitarists. And I just really I enjoy that approach much better, because he sort of never, again, it's like there's musicians who use restraint and creativity and aren't trying to impress anybody.
Yeah.
And that to me is always like where the
Yeah.
best songs come
It
from.
resonates more when you're not trying to impress nobody. You just going with the flow of the song. You in.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of fans love too, especially when they hear somebody doing a guitar riff, is the more that in tune and feel that you put into it, the more
Yeah.
they fall in tune and fall in love with it. The more they seeing you rocking out to your own self,
Yeah.
they fall in love with it right with you. And I always love the ones that it's like a nice little slower type of song,
Yeah.
and they just go into a nice little slow riff. It's kind of takes you
Yeah.
right on the further trance that you was already on. You
Yeah.
like
Well,
this
that's
is.
like David Gilmour, Pink Floyd,
Hmm.
the way he plays. And it's
Yeah,
just like, you just smoked a big joint,
yeah,
a big fatty, and you're like, oh, this is amazing.
yeah,
You're just like, oh, like when you're listening to it and you're letting it, there's something about that, and it needs to not, everything has to flow.
yeah,
And I mean, he's an amazing guitarist, but he plays like, I think George Harrison is really, really underrated.
yeah,
Um, because uh, he always uses restraint. But like when I was learning all of his solos, and there is a very aesthetic. It's not only the aesthetic of how it sounds, but the way the notes are on the fretboard. There's like an aesthetic to it. It's
mm.
it's it's amazing. It's amazing. But I'm sorry, I know you probably have like questions you actually
I,
need to ask me, but
I don't. I was actually enjoying it.
oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't, because
No,
I'm not in any hurry, so
no, me neither.
I don't.
See, me neither. To me, this is something I always wanted to do. So me having to pretty much put into a structure and format, it, I don't mind it, and it's not something that as also that where I would be like, if I could be a little bit more restraintless, I would.
Yeah.
But I like I say, I always have my own possibility to do something different, which I am doing. I have my own podcast coming soon with my best friend that I've been best friend for almost 15 years. We have our
Is
own
it
pod.
are you working on it now, or is it out right now?
We're working on it now. Well,
Okay, cool.
it'll be out in probably the next month or two.
Well, first of all, send me some MP3s
I
of your
de
R&B
I
stuff.
definitely will.
Definitely do that, but let me know like what's going, like I hope we continue to keeping in touch,
Oh, we will.
because I think like I really admire your sort of embrace of having your own, being like, yeah, like hip hop, R&B is the stuff I write appreciation for all just great music,
Oh,
like that's like it doesn't matter where it comes from. If
nope.
it's great, it's great. So I think that it's like it's always nice meeting somebody who just loves music, and I think like the more uh the more people that who are you can connect with who are on that wavelength, it's just a cool thing because just we're all in this together,
Right.
and we need to support each other, and it's cool that you're a part of something that's trying to that's spotlighting indie folks and giving them the
Yep.
you know that exposure, because it's like uh that's what we're all looking for is to, I mean, to me it's like it's not it's just sometimes you're just like what am I doing all this for, and then you
Hmm.
kind of remember the bigger part of it is
Yeah.
it's about what you're creating,
Yep.
and how important, like the staying power of it,
Yeah.
and it's not about what happens right now. It's not really, it's just like how many people find
And
your music,
yeah,
or
how
you
many
can.
people can I touch? Yeah.
Yeah,
You go back
yeah,
you
and
go back to that
yeah,
first moment that you made your very first song pretty much. You like I know me when I made my very first song, it was more of a I wonder if anybody else feels like this. And so
yeah.
so I know
well
if a
well,
lot of
my
people
first
say
all my first songs were terrible. I mean, it really took me, it wasn't, and I was sort of like, there's got to be but it's like it's just like you just keep doing it and you keep doing it. So if that if you wrote some of your early stuff like still has resonance, that's amazing. Because I
Yeah.
I just the first song I ever wrote was called Girl, and it was like, girl, it's so hard to believe that you could fall in love with me, and it was just like so terrible, and just all those, but I remember there was Mr. Policeman drags me from a park, Mr. It was just terrible. But I was playing it for somebody the other day, and they were like, why do you remember all these? And I'm like, because they're so bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like proud of how terrible they are. Like it's like this weird badge of honor.
Down there,
It's like
yeah.
these songs, it's like that I was just like, just keep going. You'll get there.
Yeah.
It'll be, and it's, I don't know I think it's like when you stop trying to imitate other people, and
Yeah. You
you
just
just
let
kind
your
of are like,
you find yourself. I
yeah,
did that over COVID. That's when I found myself was over COVID.
yeah.
My first two albums, oh my God, I hate them.
Mhm.
If anybody asks me, the two albums that I literally have on Spotify, I hate.
You can't listen to it,
I
right?
cannot listen to
That's how I feel
it.
about the demo I put out, The Loved and the Numb, because it's just me, and I'm just like, oh God, that sounds so terrible, because it's just me using the GarageBand app
Yeah,
before I was like, doing stuff properly,
yeah,
and I don't know how to like I know how to write a song, I'll give you that, but all that other stuff, like, no,
like
don't.
mixing
Like,
and
I'm not a
production.
producer like you are too. And it's just like people, it's like, oh God, I can't listen to that. And I said to my producer, I'm like, I got to take this down. And he's like, is it still getting hits? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And he's like, just keep it on. And I'm like, okay, but I hear it. I know what you mean. It's so funny because like you were so proud of it when you put
Yeah,
it out there. You're like, oh, this is,
this,
oh man.
this is
And
so
now it's
good. And
just,
he was just like,
yeah. And now you're just, and I'm like, the songs are good, but the presentation is like,
it's terrible.
oh, it's
You-
just, and you're because yeah, I mean, it comes with learning, but you're just like, oh God, and it's so fun. I totally can relate to that, and it was like finally, I'm like the songs the newer stuff I have that I'm putting out there, I'm like, oh, I dig this, and I'm
Yeah,
like Hard to Be Human. It's the thing I've never been more like just just surprised and just like honored to be a part of it. It's like
yeah,
it's not even about me. I'm just like, oh fuck, because Don knows what he's doing, and there's other musicians involved, and I'm just like, "Whew, thank God," because
Yeah.
I listen to all and I'm grateful that you loved someone to cry to, but it's just like I can't listen to it because it's just like I'm just like, oh dear, dear God, what it's fun. So I know what you mean. So the two albums you have up, you're just
Oh,
but it's still getting hits, right?
it's
You're
still
like,
getting hits, but
yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God. I'd be listening to it, but like, oh, this mixing is so terrible. Like you can hear my friend, you can hear him in the background a little bit. You can hear his smoke
Yeah,
detector. And I used to joke all the time, I said, I'm gonna name the record label Smoke Alarm Records because of how
right.
many times you can hear your smoke detector go beep in the background of every song we make. I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, that's me swallowing.
Yeah.
Like what the it's like, oh,
Or you just hear yourself,
what was I
you be like,
doing?
oh my God, did I just take a deep gasp in the middle of a
Well, I
song?
because I actually I don't I just breathe through my mouth when I'm singing because I'm like the fucking microphone always picks up, so I'm just like I never, but it's like, yeah, I listen to some of that stuff and I'm like, oh, there I am breathing. I'm like, what? How? Just it's like, wow, talk about smoke detector. I'm like, I should just call it respirator. It's
Yeah.
it's like what? It's like it was Darth Vader on vocals here. What is going on? But again, it's funny because there are people who listen to it and don't care
Don't
about that. They're
don't
just like
they just
listening to the
don't
song.
hear it, or I'd be like, did you not hear that? Like one of my songs on there is literally one of my brother's favorite songs. I was like, how? I was like, I don't even sound good on there. I was like, and most of the song is just me. Went back and listened to it. I said, most of the song is just me repeating the hook.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that at first. I was like, this song, the verse is me repeating the hook mostly. Holy crap.
you never. It's funny because you never know what's going to connect with people,
Yeah.
and you can write a song and be like, this is the best thing I've ever written, but it's like some other thing that you didn't even that just you like wrote in 20 minutes
Yeah.
and that's the one that people are like, oh, this is great. I listen to it all the time, and you're
Me,
like, oh.
I have so many songs that my friend that's the producer that I used to use in Michigan,
Mhm.
which I'm still looking for as a new producer.
Yeah.
Uh he used to tell me all the time one song I wrote, it was called Juice. And it was about this girl I had literally just basically had a one night stand with. And
Mm.
I'm like, I wrote the song in pretty much maybe an hour and I made the song and I recorded. He was like, that song right there is probably your best. I was like, I don't,
Yeah, like
it
what?
took me an hour to write this song, right?
Yeah, but I mean, hey man, you had a one night stand with her, and that was in there. You were
Yeah,
like,
it
I met
was.
this girl, and I dug her, she dug me, and there's like nothing greater than that.
Yeah, and then I noticed that at that time period, I was terrible about hooks. So I would probably do like a minute long hook, probably a 30-second verse, and then like a almost damn near minute 30 outro hook. I'm like, what
Nice.
was I doing?
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, right? Is like that's like going back to like Motown. Is it's just like that little opening and then
Mhm.
boom, song. And I'm always like everything I've done except for there's one song where I do a stoner prog rock intro to it because I'm like, I gotta have at least one
Right.
where there's just there because it sort of came with the song. I was like, there's it's like a minute 15 of just like a very like me doing like David Gilmour kind of thing.
Hmm.
But otherwise I'm always like, no, just get to the song because I hear especially indie stuff where it's like if it's a 3.5 minute song and your intro is a minute before you start singing. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing?
and
Like, whoa,
and
what is
and we
this?
live in a
Like,
streaming age where most streaming apps they got the skip button. So if you're not engaging the audience in maybe 5 to 10 seconds, well, five to
yeah.
20, maybe 5 to 20 seconds, they're skipping. And
And
so,
it's also like what it's like we're indie. We're not, it's like to me, it's like we use what we have,
right.
right? And in my genre, it's guitar, bass, drums, maybe some keyboards. If you wanna, really have. but any sort of exotic instrumentation,
Hmm.
it's like, what are you doing? Like this is indie music. It's not. Like it shouldn't be like I when people because I love if you're going to use an instrument unless it's intentional
Hmm.
to sound like retro. But like the songs that always have staying power always use like the Beatles still hold up because they used real violins, they used real, woodwinds, real brass. It's like if you have access to that, but like when you start listening to something and there's like the keyboard sounding violins, I'm like, oh no.
They were like, what is
Like
that?
what? Yeah, no, it's just terrible. Don't you do it on guitar. Like do it somebody else can later or you if you have access later redo a
Yeah,
version.
that's
But
I feel the same way about that, especially like when hip hop beat makers do like a trumpet or something, and you can
yeah.
tell it's on a keyboard machine. Like,
Yeah.
no, you could have just had them come in the studio and do it for you, man.
Yeah. And if you can't find somebody who can do that, like find some other way. Just play it on piano.
Yeah,
You
like,
know, like we'll get the idea, but there's something about having that again, I think especially in this age of AI, it's like it has to be like a real instrument.
yeah.
And unless, you're going for like I want it to sound like I have this one song that's going to be on the next album where I'm like I always heard the outro of just these two notes being played and it's like gotta be on like the most artificial sounding setting on my Yamaha that I can find.
Mm.
Like it's gotta be just this is a keyboard. Like
Like,
like this is like a synthesizer. Uh because it just sounds right to me. And I'm sure Don will shoot that idea down and be like,
don't do
don't please
it.
don't do that. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. But yeah, no, there is like I always like again, it's like going back to like the rawness of something.
Hmm.
And when I hear indie music that's too overproduced, that's what like makes me check out. Because usually the song isn't that great,
Yeah.
right? And like when you like going through playlists and stuff, you find some really great artists who are writing these amazing songs and they always get to the song
Yeah.
like immediately. And then there's a lot of artists out there and you can tell they're playing at it because
Yep.
it's not there's no urgency to getting to the meat of things.
Yeah, and then
And
that's always the ones with the biggest egos too.
yeah,
It's always them, and then you get to having a conversation with them about like, oh, how do you feel like your musical direction is going, or where do you want to take
yeah,
your musical direction? And they'll tell you they basically find where they at, and oh, they don't need this, that person, this person. You like
yeah,
I had a conversation with somebody on Discord. I was asking people like, oh, if you ever want to have some real feedback from real audiences and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
reach out to the radio station and you can get you some feedback and everything. And the dude told me that we had a feedback request server. I said, well, okay. I said, so let me ask you a question. You feel like that really is in comparison to a radio station? Yeah. I said, wow.
really.
I said,
No, because
wow.
you're getting your like the people who are like intentionally going to your site and listening to you, you're not going to get
I was like,
the real one of the first things I did, because I was when I first came back was and now I avoid all these situations like the plague. But all those YouTubers and Instagram folks who have like the is it hot or is it trash
mm-hmm.
things. And so I had one song this single that I put out called Shutdown. Um and it was all rap. Okay. It was all fucking rap. And the guy heard my song and said, no, 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 submit this song for my show. And oh man, I'm like listening to everything and I'm like, I'm in the wrong room. I'm gonna get slaughtered here. You can just and also the feedback was just like from all the other stuff was like, this is crap, this is terrible, this is blah blah.
Yes.
So my song comes on and it's like, who let this white boy in? Like it was literally just like, you know, like, oh my God, like I'd be there appreciating other people. And again, I only my criticism is always like telling you what's right because
Yeah,
enough people are going to tell you what's wrong. Like
yeah.
I don't need to add to that. And I just want to encourage people because I love music in general. But man, oh God, it came on and one person was like, "What is this shite down?" And I was like, "Now that is hilarious."
But also
Like,
that is hurtful.
no, no, yeah. No, first I was like hurtful, but hilarious. And I gotta tell you, if you use that same energy toward your own music,
Yeah.
you'd be. But then I started noticing people were like, "This is really good." Like I got like maybe half of the people there listening, right? Of the like 50 people who were there, 20, 25 were into it. I'm like, great voice, great lyrics, and I'm like, it was again. I would never put myself in that situation again, but I realized like sometimes it's good to kind of find an audience that you
Yeah.
think isn't going to embrace your stuff
Hmm.
because you'll find that there are people who
That definitely
will.
will.
And it was like my takeaway from it was like how cool that like some people like
Excellent
went
way.
against the sentiment of like there's no beat here, there's no
Hmm.
it's a white guy doing folk rock like it but being into it
Yeah.
and that was my takeaway. It was like you never know where you're gonna find your fans,
No.
and I just wouldn't put myself because I don't like those shows because it's like, first of all, it's like, is it hot or is it trash? It's like, don't do that.
You already putting the narrative down there, and
Yeah,
that's how I felt when I did one of those, and it was actually with who was he at A&R for? I want to say, I think it was Universal or Interscope, and he was doing one of those big old
yeah.
mass Zoom meetings, and you submit your tracks, and I was like, okay. I'll do it. I was like, I've been into a couple of these already, and they seem pretty cool. He might give you a kind
Mm,
of, oh, it's dated. It's kind of sounds like this is like 2015. We're in 2020. So I was like, okay, that's as fair as
right,
that was our fair assessments. Like, okay, I was like, so I'll give it a chance.
right.
He and the song I sent, and he ripped it apart so bad, and my heart was breaking each rip apart. He was like, "Oh, this sounds so dated," and then he got to the hook, and
Wow.
he was like, "Why is the hook so long?" I was like, "This is the shortest one I think I did." It's
Yeah, yeah. But I got to tell you, like, I guess I'm like, I feel like you gotta like one of the most important lessons you learn is like, do you respect the person that's giving you the
Yeah,
feedback?
and
And
that's what made it.
yeah.
That's what really
And
brought it down to. I was
well,
like,
like you said, you have your listening party folks
mm-hmm,
back in Michigan, right? You have the
yep,
people that you're going to send stuff to, and if they like it, if they dig it, you're like, okay, I'm on to something. And I feel the same way, and it's something you got to unfortunately learn by yourself
yeah,
because there are so many people, and this is the unfortunate side of things. There are so many people that are envious and jealous of raw talent, of things that are original because they're chasing something that is toxic. They're chasing, they want to be famous, they want to be rich. That I don't want to be in the same room with anybody like that. I
yeah,
want to be in a room with somebody who's like, "Oh, I want to work with you. I want to hear your music. I want to, those are the type of like just
yeah,
nerd like we're
exactly.
doing. Just let's geek out and talk about Al Green and like you're saying like when you run it when you were listening to something in a record store and you meet somebody and you're just going to talk about that artist and just be like, did you know that? Well, did you know that? And just vibe.
Yep,
Uh, unfortunate. It's an unfortunate thing, but there are so many people out there who I feel like and this is what I got from being in that was this group of 1,000 folks was just it made you question your own artistic abilities, and
hmm.
that's the worst thing you can do
That's the
to
worst
someone.
thing you can do.
The worst thing you can do, and there's no, it's not the type of criticism. I remember, and this is the worst comment I feel I ever got was somebody was listening to a song of mine, and I said, I like this. It's quirky. And I was like,
Ooh,
quirky?
what
Like
is
what?
yeah? What is
Fuck
quirky?
you. Like that's like so insulting. Like this is so quirky. I mean, I would never. I mean, dear, I'd rather you said this is crap. I'd rather you be like the shite down guy. Like, be
Yeah,
that guy.
yeah.
Like, because
It
at
just
least he's being honest,
like
you know?
this ain't my take. This ain't my cup of tea or something. Like
But that guy, the reason why I respect him so much is he was coming from he was showing his all his cards. He was being like, this isn't my type of music.
right,
He was,
exactly.
and so it wasn't like an attack on my song. It was like an attack on the genre. He's not into the genre. He doesn't want to hear a folk song. Okay, like totally cool. And I don't blame you because you're here to listen to other rap songs. You're here to listen to other hip hop songs. You're not here to listen to me sing about the fucking shutdown. I respect that. But like when people make you question, and it's like something that I really like once I got away from it, and it's been about 2 months now. It's just like I rediscovered a lot of the stuff that I was submitting for the playlists, and been like, oh, like this, because there would be people who would compliment it, but for the most part it would either be like just terrible comments or silence, and there's
Yeah,
nothing worse than like silence.
yeah,
And it just to make you question your own abilities, to put you in that headspace, is just something and again, it was because this group was full of people who were just chasing their own thing.
hmm
And I thought it was about, because if I'm going to be a part of a community like that, I got to give back. I gotta be supportive, and it's like I want to help uplift the artist. I want to be a support system for them. I don't want to, but I feel like there's so many people who just like they get envious, they get jealous, they don't understand something, and they like want to tear your dream down,
yeah.
you know?
I've been.
And it's like,
I think the
whew,
worst one I had, and it was somebody asked me a question about the song.
mm,
showed them the song, and they asked me, "Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's not bad, but was you telling the story or something? What do you mean?"
Oh
Oh,
my
it's
God.
just I couldn't imagine you doing that, so I was just wondering if you was telling a story about somebody else or something. No,
Wow.
that was me. It's
Yeah.
oh no, I just couldn't see you doing that. Like, oh,
Oh, okay.
hurtful.
Yeah,
Okay, it's
hurtful. Very
like
hurtful. Yeah,
very
yeah, because
hurtful.
like yeah, like because it's like it has nothing to do with, and it's like when you put yourself out there.
Yeah,
And with music, you're putting yourself out
out
there.
there.
It's
Yeah,
it's like, oh, hey, you want to listen to my soul?
yeah. And then
You want to listen? Yeah,
you get them people to listen to it, be like, oh, your soul is shit. You'd be like, oh, well, fuck you
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like, well, I,
Unless they say something hilarious, like shite
yeah,
down. Like
yeah,
that
be like, okay,
that's
well,
creative. Yeah, I gotta be, but I know I exactly. It's like, and I'm not. I don't want to ever be when good criticism is good criticism, and you want
right,
to be open to it, but you gotta always like. It's really important that you respect the people that are giving you that feedback, or
right,
else it's not worth. And that's what you're saying is like, yeah, I like sending stuff to indie stations, because sometimes I'll get like really really good feedback about why they're even people who will play my stuff, they'll be like, hey, but maybe try, these are some suggestions or whatever it is. But it's like getting feedback is really important to your own growth. But yeah, when it's just like mean, or it's like becomes like a personal attack, it's like, whoa, what is going on
like,
here?
what did I do to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, because you would never, because also my big thing when I'm listening to stuff is what's the writer's intention behind this?
Yeah,
And did they follow through with their intention?
yep,
And if they did, then the song is good.
yep.
You
I know.
know?
I normally just listen to the lyric part, and I'm like, okay, I can forget the
Yeah.
production if I feel like your song actually matches what you are trying to say
Right.
to the
And
audience.
but that's a problem with a lot of those. Is it hot or is it not? Because people are looking at the superficial things. They're not
Hmm.
looking at the song itself, the
Yep.
lyrics and the melody. They're looking at the production value. And it's like, again, it's like we're indie. We're not.
We're
we
we're
don't have access to a
yeah.
fucking, to Universal's, console.
We're
We
not
don't,
21 Pilots. We're not the
right.
Jay-Z's. We're starting out. It's
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have that. That would be great.
that would be
But
super.
yeah, but again, I wouldn't want to have that overproduced sound because
Yeah,
yeah,
because I feel
I
like they
listen.
teams will be micromanaging, like teams like that.
Well, that's the other thing, right? Is all of the being able to do exactly what you want to do
Yeah,
is really important. And yeah, I feel like there are certain levels you can get to it where you're going to have your ideas are going to be diluted by committee or by a producer who's like, this is my sound, this is the way I do things.
right.
And yeah, and again, I love listening to pop music, but it's more of like a guilty pleasure. It's not I've ne there's a lot of pop music that, like, I was, Sabrina Carpenter. It's just like fun or like Miley Cyrus, right? It's like fun to listen to that
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm never like I'm gonna write a song like that. It's more like, I don't want anyone to know that because Sabrina, look, I can't help. I'm 52 years old, but I can't help that I find Sabrina Carpenter is like a sexy midget. I don't. I feel terrible that I'm attracted to her. I feel like a pervy fucking person, but it's like, just let me have that, okay? I'm not hurting anybody.
So I'm not
Just,
hurting nobody just listening to her music.
yeah, just leave me alone, okay? Leave me alone. It's like my OnlyFans. It's my version of OnlyFans. Like, leave me. But I mean, there is there's that aspect to it. But it's never like you never like walk away going like, and I'm like man child. I'm gonna write a song like man child. Dear God, I wouldn't. I would. I mean,
Yeah.
if I did, I would be like I'm writing it like intentionally for somebody
Everybody
else.
else, yeah.
But I mean, and nobody wants to hear me do a song like that. Like I'm working on some real sensual stuff. Uh, the women are gonna love it. It's all for the women. That are gonna just
It's gonna be a
they're
panty
gonna
dropper.
like, yeah, real. Oh my God, they'll be throwing their panties at me. It's like a Tom Jones. Yeah, I mean, again, great if that happens, but that's not never. I'm never like that's like the like I'll be like sincere. It's like someone to cry to is a very like sincere, truthful song. I'll go there, but I'm not going to be like, hey, baby, it's time to let the Jake man in. Surrender to his sexiness. If you can tell me that you don't want to get on this, then I know you're lying. Because yeah,
Yeah,
it's laughing because it's hilarious. Because it's like, and I know you're probably the same. Well, I mean, because in you could probably write stuff and find like, the right singer to do that.
yeah.
But I could never, I could never go there because I just sort of feel like just I'm not saying that you would either, but there's something, it just reminds me of like, it's like Will Ferrell in a Saturday Night Live sketch, look at
Oh
how
my God.
Look at how sexy like I don't know if you remember there was one of my favorite things he ever did was he was doing Neil Diamond. Remember that story Storytellers
Oh my God.
on
Yes.
VH1?
Yes.
So he was doing that, but he was Neil Diamond, and yeah, I love Neil Diamond, but he was like about to do he was about to do one of the songs, and he's like, I wrote this song after I killed a drifter to see what it would feel like. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of shit. But about Neil Diamond, he when he first started, and when he first was touring after initial success, he had, I forget the guitarist's name that was in his band, but he was like just technically amazing, musician. And he went up to Neil and he said, "Hey, I can show you some like really cool chords to use." And Neil Diamond just looked at him and said, "I think I'm doing all right with the chords I know." And I was like, you got to respect that, like, because yeah, he's doing fine. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't need,
I don't
you
need
know,
to need another 9, 10 chords to play with.
no, I mean, I'm the absolute different way because I'm just like a chord, like I mean, that's the thing where I got into theory is like, okay, like I just want to like, what okay, what is, because I'm very much like, okay, maybe just I love seventh chords. Like I have to refrain myself from using seventh chords, but I like ninth chord. I'm like, what would a ninth chord sound here? What would a sixth chord sound? What would a 13th chord sound? And it always doesn't fit, but I'm like, well, I'm gonna try it.
Like I'm
You
gonna
know,
make
I'm
I'm gonna try my best to blend it in there and tune
you
it.
know, I'm gonna try to do something with it. But I just love, diminished chords and kind of all those things. But again, it has to sound right because if it sounds forced, and that's why it's always cool, like when the music comes to you, because then you find the right chords and you can screw around with it a
Yeah,
little bit and see. But I do love like there's certain things you could do on acoustic guitar where you're like just messing around with like open strings and things like that that sound good. But yeah, when it's just like, yeah, let me show you how many chords I know, or because nobody cares about that, right?
I don't know. I kind of do. I
I
love
mean,
it.
well, yeah, but you're a musician, you're a
Yeah,
songwriter. But that
yeah,
but that's the thing though. But what's, to me, the songs that impress me the most are like the 12 bar blues stuff, because it's like, if you're just working with three chords and you're using sevenths and you're using ninths, cool, but you're still kind of sticking around those three chords. It's like, wow, if you can come up with like a great melody. I
hmm,
mean, it's like the stuff that like, Jerry, um, like Little Richard would do, or
yeah,
Chuck Berry, and it's like just using three chords. I mean, Memphis, Tennessee, it's like the melody and the lyrics are so powerful, and he's still sticking to that same form. I mean, same with like, Buddy Holly. That's like impressive. To
yeah.
me, that's like if you can, or like there are some U2 songs where they just use three chords, and I'm like, wow, like like Running to Stand Still has three chords in it. It's amazing,
Amazing.
you know. Where the Streets Have No Name, four chords. The song that I really love with theirs, Ultraviolet, baby, 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 light my way. I think it's like three chords. Uh, there's something about that. I mean, Easy is I think he uses some really creative voicings, but it's only four chords. But he uses some really cool, like it's like the B minor with the E, turning
Yeah,
it into like a whatever chord that is. I don't know, but there's some really creative voicings going on. But you can do that more on the piano where it sounds natural.
yeah. I,
But
I always said Smokey Robinson kind of crossed, so like Roger and
yeah,
not, I was about to say the Gap Band, and Roger and Zapp could run,
yeah,
because Roger's auto tune sound that came in the like early 90s, that sound took off and created a whole new lane of music
yeah.
that we hadn't seen for a while up to that point.
Well, that
And
was like remember like Gnarls Barkley, like
yeah,
their sound, like
yes,
that sound, because like Crazy is so stripped down. I
yeah,
mean, it's just like the bass and the drums are most of the song. And then, but it comes in right away, and that song still blows me away.
yep, me
Um,
too.
because it's just like there's such a rawness to it, but it's an amazing song, and it's like the vocals are amazing, and it's mostly I think there's some strings on it that come on a little later, but again, it's like very, I don't know. It's just I love that sound, and I kind of wish that. I mean, it was hugely popular, but I kind of wish that kind of caught on more. like people being like, yeah, we don't need to like overproduce the shit out of everything.
Yeah, you don't have to do
You know,
everything to the song. You ain't gotta have 15 instruments. Yeah, everybody
yeah,
don't have to have a vocal session in there, or everybody ain't
yeah,
gotta be the lead vocalist in the song.
right,
And
right. No,
you
no,
don't have to
totally.
contralude the song. You don't have to contralude the track.
Because it's like, I mean, that's why, like, I mean, there are certain albums, I mean, like Pet Sounds and Sergeant Pepper, where they did a lot of that already. So
Hmm.
it's like, okay. And if you want to do that, if you want to do like with Springsteen, Born to Run is intentionally very overproduced. Because he
Yeah,
was like, once he had that hit, he was like, well, I'm just going to throw everything at it because this is like the last album I'm ever going to do. They're going to take everything away from me. So he was like, I need to do my Sergeant Pepper. I need to do my Pets. So it's
yeah,
like I can respect that if it's like thematically makes sense
yeah,
to and the whole album is like just we're gonna have an orchestra and a choir and we're gonna go there.
yeah.
There's gotta be, but the songs have to back that
Back it
up,
up.
that
Yep.
that sound, that the reason for doing that. Otherwise, like yeah, like I think keeping it as simple as possible is like always important for me at least,
Me, yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally cool. Totally cool.
All right. Well, I think I'll move us into the interview part. I'll just
Sure.
do our little intro and get the fans to get to know you as much as I did get to know you.
Okay, cool, cool. Well, I appreciate you doing getting to know me first because then this always is a lot more fun and a lot
Yeah,
more.
that's why I
Yeah.
tell people I'm like interviews, even though I'm always nervous for everyone that I do. I always tell
Oh, sure.
people if you're not nervous about doing anything, then I don't know how you even are in that profession because if to feel if I feel comfortable with something, I'm like, yeah, it just
Yeah.
might be time for some change.
Well, but that's why I like the fact that you were like, "Hey, do you want to do an audio call or a video call?" And I'm like, "Video," because I'm gonna, I don't want to like just half-ass it.
Right,
And I appreciate you spending so much time with me because now I'm just like, yeah, I'll tell you anything. I'm
right.
not gonna, because we've been chatting, and I'm not because yeah, it's like you get nervous and you need that lead
Icebreaker.
in.
Yeah,
Because
that.
now I'm like, like I said, like I'm loose. I'm ready to get.
Yeah, because me and one of the other presenters was joking about it. He was like, hopefully you when you're doing your interview, you don't get the two-liners. I said, oh my God. I said,
Yeah.
it's no worse thing than every time you be like, so yeah, how did you get into music and what was your biggest
Right, right,
inspiration?
right,
And,
right, right. Yeah, yeah.
oh, the Beatles. And then you be like, oh, nobody else? No. Really? Nah, that was
Well,
it.
I've always been into the sound of a bass, and I was working on this article for Sound Magazine on natural uses of bass in nature, starting with the sound of a mastodon. Yeah, no,
Yeah, I'd be like, oh
that
my God. Like, okay.
yeah, ooh.
Like this interview is gonna go great.
Yeah. It reminds me of, when you get those questions, it's like you like those. It's like they feel like those like compare and contrast
Oh my God.
questions from like school, and you're
Yes.
like. Like,
Or
oh God, I don't even want to answer this. It's like exhausting just to like even think about it because it's just like boring. It's
right.
like I could tell you just the most boring
Person,
I mean a
yeah.
story that'll just bore me as I bore everybody. But
No,
but sorry.
no, you
Go ahead.
okay.
Lay
All
it
right.
on me. You got anything you want to know, the deepest darkest
All
corners
righty.
of
He said the deepest,
go
darkest
for it,
corners. Oh, trust me. If I can't wait to do my segment, the confession segment. So,
Oh
man.
yeah?
Yeah, I have a confession segment coming up, and my best friend of 15 years, he was like, "Well, if you don't have no confessions just yet, you can always use one of our stories." I said, "I'm gonna have to change everything
Yes.
about that story." I was like, "No names can be used."
Yeah. Yeah, but again, it'll be like it'll come across as so like sweet and innocent compared to like the person who's like, well, this one time, well, I'd been on heroin for a week and a half, and I
Aren't
woke
you?
up on a shattered windshield,
You be
my face
yeah,
bleeding.
you be
Yeah,
like,
you know.
you be looking out there. I'm like, oh, I might not be able to use that. I might not be able to use that one.
Well, I don't know if you've ever got like you ever now and then you're like, I might have a drinking problem, and then you go to an AA meeting and you're like, I don't have a drinking problem.
Yes, I actually dealt with some people like that before. I was like, I think I might be smoking too much.
Yeah, like no,
And
I'm
and
good. Yeah.
and then I got in the car with them one day and they was like, "Yo, we got 15 already and we're going to get all these
Oh
going
yeah.
just on the
Yeah.
ride." I was like, we're taking a road trip to a different state or something?" No, we're just going to the
Oh,
mall.
oh, but you know what? When I was living in New York, man, because that is a booze town. I mean, and I was working in the Bowery, and I there was just a bar. I was in a theater, this off-Broadway theater company, off-Broadway theater company in the Bowery, and it was like I got to know there was like 5 to 7 bars where I knew the bartenders really well because I used to take donors out
Mm,
after shows. And I learned this was like early mid 2000s. Back then in New York, the fourth drink was free. Okay. So, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, the fourth drink was free. So you'd want to loosen up the donor.
yeah.
So you would just talk to them like we've been doing. You'd talk to them for 3 drinks and you would build up a tolerance because,
Yeah.
I was drinking martinis back then. So third martini, fourth one's free, and you're making sure the person's drinking something pretty as heavy as you are, and you'd wait for that fourth drink, and of course, if you get that fourth drink for free, there's gonna be a fifth drink.
Yeah.
So I just got used to like building up this tolerance, and then afterwards, getting the money, making the ask, getting the money, being at success, and then afterwards, you're like on your way home, you're like, and it's late at night because it's after a show, you're like, dear God, I'm drunk. So you're like, oh, but I need to go to here because I know the bartender and I need to go. And yeah, I just ended up I think I gained like 25 pounds just by drinking. Uh I swear this is a true story. There was one time I was at this bar on Broadway and I was living on Second Avenue on the Upper East Side. It was like Second Avenue and like 86 and between 86 and 87th. So I'd always take the 6, which is on Lexington. So I walked from Broadway to Lexington because I'm like, it'll be good to work off the calories. And I was so drunk that I hadn't eaten dinner. So it's like 5 blocks, right? 5 long New York blocks though. And at the intersection, I bought a hot dog on each block. And by the time I got, so, it was like eat hot dog, get to the end of the block, buy another hot dog, and then I like hit, because yeah, I was in Midtown, so I hit Grand Central to get the sixth, and there was like so many hot dog vendors. I think I bought like two, and I was like, I am a disgusting human being, and that's just the way I am and I can deal with it. But yeah, I just remember like crazy things. Like one time I was so drunk I fell asleep on the subway and I woke up in like upstate, like as far as the sixth line went, which was like Ditmars, and I'm like I don't even know where the hell I am. Like I just got out of the train in a panic. I left my phone and everything on there because I was
Oh,
just so
Jesus.
drunk and out. What happened? Because I'm like I just fell asleep on a New York subway at like 2 in the morning. Like God only knows.
What
Like if there's
happened?
footage of what happened to me, I don't. But that's sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no,
So I've been there, done that. So now I'm like, I'll have a glass of wine or two.
me too. I'm just like, you know what? At
Yeah.
home is the best for me.
Yeah.
I can,
And I'd rather just smoke a joint with somebody
yeah,
than get drunk.
yeah,
You
me
know.
too. Like just
You know,
at
Robin
home.
Robin Williams was talking about how people never get into fights when they're after they smoke weed.
No, it's
You know.
hard. It's very hard, especially when both of you
Well,
either.
unless you're with your girlfriend, then it's really easy. Like if you ever got into a fight with I'll just never forget. I was dating this girl Shannon in New York, and she worked for the U.S. Attorney's office. And I went and we were staying at this place in Jersey with her best friend, who also was a U.S. attorney. And but her best friend's boyfriend was a musician like I was, and he had some weed on him, and he was like, "You want to smoke it?" And she was like, this is in again, early 2000s, and weed was still illegal
Yeah.
and in New York, and she was like, "How can?" And I was stoned out of my mind, right? So stoned out of my, because you know the way they make it these days
Yeah,
is fucking.
it's not the
It's
same.
not the no. I mean, I grew up smoking, fucking like twigs, like and it was like you'd every now and then you'd get a good batch, but for the
For the
most
most
part,
part, it was
you'd
just
be like, yeah.
twigs.
But now, especially those infused joints, you
Yeah.
like smoke it and you're like, and let me tell you about the time when I learning several types of clowning. You're like, who am I? Why can't I feel my face? It was
Yep.
like one, but it was like it was really powerful stuff. And I came up to the bedroom we were smoking in, and she was so pissed. She was like, "How could you do that? I just I work for the U.S. Attorney's office, and you're smoking weed. That's where it was at." She was like, certain people are like drugs, and they're like, no drug, but alcohol is fine, but
See,
drugs, like,
that's my same thing. I'd be like, hold on, I have
mm,
never fought or got into an argument or misdemeanor, that type of behavior on
yeah,
smoking a little joint. I said,
no, no,
now,
no. It makes me a better driver. I get lost, but I'm really aware. Except there
I'm,
was one time I was like, wait, how do I make a left turn?
I waited at the blinking yellow light, so don't
Oh,
worry.
oh my God. Oh my God. Those lights where you're like, have I been here for like 3 hours? But
Yes.
I walk upstairs and she's so pissed at me, and we get into this argument, and I'm just agreeing with her because that's what I do. Like when my girl is mad at me, I just agree with her. You're right. I'm sorry. So those are the only two things I say. You're right, and I'm sorry. And this is what you need to say
Yeah.
because she's smarter. The women are smarter than us, and they're going to come up with better arguments than we can. So don't even go there. You're not going to win.
Mm.
And so she's getting into it, and I'm just agreeing with her. And at one point, I'm just like, "Are you going to break up with me?" And she looked at me because it was this beach house in Monmouth, New Jersey. She's like, "I would never break up with you in New Jersey."
It's
Because she
so
was a New Yorker. She was
it's
she
so
lived in
funny. Me and my mom was
I
just
was
talking
just like,
about
yeah.
that. It was
And
she
I was just like, "I love you." And she said, "That's really nice of you to say."
oh.
And yeah, so we broke up a year later. And she brought that up. She was like, "Is it because I didn't say I love you too?" And I'm like, "Kind of."
It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of a flag, but not
Yeah,
never.
I mean, but that was, look, I understand my mother was emotionally withholding. So I like women who are emotionally withholding. That's like, you're attracted to what you know on a certain level. Like I
On
said, though, I always try to date as far away from my own gene pool as possible,
right.
uh, because that's just what I'm attracted to, you know. But nature.
Yeah.
That's just that's just nature. But sorry, go
Oh
ahead.
no, you are fine. So
Yeah.
look, I have been enjoying getting to know you as a person and artist. So
Same here, man. Same here, man. Say absolutely.
so just I'm gonna go. I guess like I said, I just started off with my normal intro and
Mhm.
let everybody know who you are before we get into the little bitty questions and letting you tell your story to the fans.
Sure.
Alrighty, so welcome to the Yaktown Frequency. And tonight we got a special guest in the building, Jacob Tail. So how are you doing today, sir?
I am doing amazingly well. Thank you. It's a beautiful sunny day in military occupied Los Angeles.
Okay, okay, okay. How's life been lately? You been moving in? You been doing any good music? And
Actually, so I'm glad you liked that. I'm working on. I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you liked that too. I have edit that out. My God. I'm glad you liked that, and I'm glad you asked it. So that goes back to why I'm like I always read my emails before I send them. I am not looking forward to working with you. Wait a second. I didn't mean. Um, no, I've been working on this album called Hard to Be Human, and it's going to be a late January release. Five of the tracks have already been released as singles, and they're up on Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal and Deezer, whatever that is. I actually just put them up on SoundCloud, where you can also there's a bonus track you can hear, Names of the Dead, that's also going to be on the album, and that's also out there. If you go to my Instagram page or you go to my TikTok, I put those songs up there too. But so I've been working with this great producer, Don Douglas. He has an outfit in Phoenix called Desert Island Radio. Sorry, Desert Island Studio. And I met him through this Irish DJ who has his own station. He's known as the retweeter on X, and he was a fan of my music and started playing it. He introduced me to Mick Combs and Ivy Stone, who are part of a group called Mega Queen out of Adelaide Music, and they have a little boutique indie label, and that's out in Australia. They have a boutique indie label called Eclectric Records, and it's just it's like a communal. We all kind of do our own part and help support one another. But their in-house producer is Don, and that's how I met Don. And we started working on the album in June. We've mastered nine of the tracks. There's two other tracks we've done that are going to be singles and will show up on the next album. So I'm sorry, eight of the tracks are mastered with two other tracks that are done. And one of them is going to be probably, I'm going to release One Final Thought of You next month as a single. That'll be on the album after this one. But we got three tracks left to go. So right now, this month, I'm finishing up those tracks, and it's one of them is a song that I mentioned before, "Trad Wife," which I wrote initially for somebody else, and there's this arpeggio part that's killing me, and I will never write another arpeggio. I'm not going to do another guitar arpeggio part for a long time. But that's what I'm working on. I'm wrapping up the last three songs, and then he's going to take it. And he's already mastered all the stuff, but kind of remastered again. And we're going to figure out because the order as I'm obsessed with kind of the order of tracks, and I can't. I'm just, oh God, I have no, I just, where should everything go? And it keeps changing on a daily basis. But that's what I've been working on. I'm really proud of it. It's the the most proud of. And I have to say it's like this total team effort with Don. He's not just a producer, he's a collaborator. He really helped me, shape the songs and what he added to it. I'm playing guitar and bass and singing. But he added, he plays drums and he plays the keys, and he added a lot of stuff to it, and it just sounds great. And just if anybody out there who's curious, check it out. It's up there on all the streamers, and the album will be the full album, 11 tracks, will be a January release.
Okay, thank you for letting us know that, and I definitely go check it out. I already listened to a couple of them myself, so he is telling the truth when he
Thank
said
you.
there are some masterpieces that are coming together.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
No problem. It's beautiful to hear that you found somebody that's especially as musically in love with music that you are, that's helping you, and it
Yeah,
sounds
and
like you have a
he
great team.
actually we have a very sort of shared musical universe. And so he'll give me the directions he gives me will be like very like specific to that. He'll be like less Buddy Guy and more Steve Vai. I mean, just kind of like, notes like that where it's like, okay, I see exactly where you're trying to go with this. But no, it's been wonderful. And my friend Mick actually did lead guitar on the title track, "Hard to Be Human," and he just added so much to that. And there's one of the tracks that I'm working on right now. So much of the time, Ivy's adding piano and percussion to it. So it's like I'm working with other musicians and working with Don. It's been a great experience.
Sounds like you got a great team with you. So let's take it back a little bit. How did
Sure.
music first find you? And was it something you grew up around or something that fell in love with you and that you fell
I
in
also,
love
so
with later?
I'm gonna take you, I'm gonna take you way back to my roots, and I'm agnostic, but I was raised, a reformed, Jewish, and I actually, was a very, quiet kid, afraid of everything, very sort of, the only thing that everybody was sort of, measured by was their academic, achievements, and I was, not very academically inclined. And I started studying for my bar mitzvah when I was 12, and I started working with this woman named Ava Sharfman. She was the vocal coach, and I started learning all the chants I was doing, and then suddenly we got to a point where we were surpassing what all the other kids were doing. I was going to do the whole service where weren't going to even need a cantor. And she was so tough that she didn't even tell me. She was one of those great teachers that really knows how to motivate you. She was so kind, but she would always push you but in that loving, mentor way where she respected you and saw you as an individual. So she didn't tell me this was something that was like, oh, like you're doing the whole service yourself. This is something that's not usually done. And so I had no idea that I had any sort of musical prowess. And then the night before my bar mitzvah, I they would call up they did two services every Saturday. And so in front of the whole temple, hundreds of people, they would call up the two kids who were being bar mitzvahed or bat mitzvahed the next day and have you chant like one or two lines.
Okay.
And I was more nervous about this than I was for my own bar mitzvah. I was so nervous because I didn't know these people. I didn't know, so, all these people. And it's like they would call you up and you had to sit with all the bigwigs, the rabbi and the cantor and all the, the heads of it was just you're up on the dais and all these people are watching you. And I was so nervous about these two lines and about screwing them up and messing them up and just, going over and over in my head. Okay, okay. And they finally called me up, and I go up there and I chant the two lines, and the place is just dead silent. And I'm walking back, and just the expression on everybody, there's like 12, 13 people up on stage with me. Their expressions were like, what the fuck just happened? And I'm like, oh God, I
I
broke it.
I screwed up.
I broke it. Well, like I'm like, yeah, I broke something. I broke it all. And I just sat down and kind of sank in my chair and had to stay up there for the rest of the service. Well, the cantor comes up to me, Cantor Cohen, who would later become like a mentor of mine, comes over to me and he's like, who are you? And I, said, I'm Jacob Tell. And he's like, okay, do you want to be the junior cantor for our Rosh Hashanah service, and be in the choir for the other things? And the rabbi comes up to me and he's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Again, I'm Jacob." And it was like I then became for the next 2 years, I would do Rosh Hashanah morning service, the whole service as the cantor, and then I participated so although I'm not religious myself, and always sort of, whatever, I think faith is everybody's own business, as long as your faith doesn't infringe on people's freedom. I'm all for it. But it was the first time I was like, oh, I'm good at something. I actually have something as a human being, as an individual, that I can do. And it wasn't long after that I mentioned my mom taking me to see earlier when we were chatting. I mentioned how my mom, a couple of years later, summer before my high school freshman year, my mom took me to see La Bamba, the Richie Valens pick, and just being really like, oh, I got to get a guitar now. Mostly because it was like, oh, that's like a great way to get a woman to fall in love with you. But also, oh, like I can do this with music now. So it was really those two things, kind of this really formal training I had as a cantor and a choir member, and that as a vocalist, and then being inspired to play guitar and And because of, Richie Valens was a songwriter, singer-songwriter, being one of those, and then always sort of gravitating toward other singer-songwriters. And people kind of always put an acoustic guitar in my hand. They'd keep me away from the electric, so I kind of um, I mean, I gravitated toward, like indie rock, indie folk, and kind of kept writing those songs. And like I mentioned earlier, those first attempts were awful. And it, just kept writing, and then started noticing, oh, people liking them and reacting to them differently. And yeah, that's how I got into it.
So on that note of people liking your music and that kind of being your first instance of finding that moment, like, okay, this might be the real deal. When would you
Yeah.
say that you actually had that specific moment that, okay, this is
Oh.
exactly what I'm doing for real?
I think it was every time there was a girl I liked, and I would she'd come by my place, or I'd go by her place with my guitar, and I would play a song I was writing, and I would get you can sense that feedback, that you were every time that happened when I was a teenager. I was like, okay, I'm on to something. And that was kind of the greatest validation I could get. And it wasn't until I started, I was around 15, 16, I started playing for this group called Numbers, and I was the youngest member by far. They were all in college, and there was the drummer, Mickey was a senior in high school, but I was a sophomore, and I was the lead guitarist, which was not a position I should have before. But when I was playing with them, and I really in playing shows, we played at the Roxy and the Whiskey, and we had a show because of our manager at what is now the El Capitan Theater. It was called Hollywood Live back then, and we would do a show every Saturday there. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, like this is something this is definitely something I can do. Um, and just continuing through college, playing, I would get together with other musicians and started playing my own stuff at coffee houses, at little festivals they would have. And the way that the again, what I learned right away, that same silence I experienced the night I was 12, like, you're doing something right when it becomes silent. And in fact, for me, like, whenever when I'm trying something out, I'll go to an open mic night, and I'll make sure I don't know anybody in the audience. And when I go out there and I start playing a song, and everybody who's there to hear their friends play, when they stop talking, when you can hear the silence as you're playing, that's when you know you've written a good song,
Yeah, you are
because they're
100%.
listening to it. Yeah,
Yep, you are
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
When you got the audience fully engaged, you know you got them.
Mhm.
You know you got
Mhm.
them.
And there's nothing like that feeling, because it's so immediate, and it's the greatest feeling there is.
Yep.
To just know, oh yeah, I've engaged these people, and I have something here that's worth working on, and that's worth sharing with more people.
I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but who were some of your earlier influences that shaped your sound and mindset? I know you said Chuck Berry, the Beatles.
Yeah. Well, definitely, yeah. I mean, definitely, the Beatles, and I mentioned sort of, as an agnostic person, it was the closest I've come to a religious experience was listening to Sergeant Pepper on vinyl for the first time, and then really doing a deep dive on their music, and then learning about their influences, like Chuck Berry, and like you mentioned, and Smokey Robinson, and the Shirelles, all the Motown Stax artists that they were into, all the R&B acts that they were into, and then also like Buddy Holly and all the sort of more rockabilly, Chet Atkins, those learning about them. And that was just sort of my like 101 on songwriting, like how to write great songs, and being open to listening to a lot of R&B at the same time, yeah, getting into, Pink Floyd, and, just rock. I mentioned, like Desperado, the Eagles album, which I really like, but like Fleetwood Mac, and getting into Bruce Springsteen and Leonard Cohen, Harry Chapin. And then later getting into, like Nico Case and like we talked about like Wise Blood later on in life, getting into more a lot of the I love Lana Del Rey, but it's really like the things that I get I'm just I get inspired by just good music. When I hear a good song, whatever the genre is, that just makes me want to write,
Yeah,
you
same.
know? And yeah, and it's like, so that's the thing that I dig the most is like trying to listening to new stuff or hearing stuff that I'm just like, oh, this just is so good. It just inspires me to want to keep creating. But those were definitely like influences on me. And like I mentioned, like, like John Lennon talking about how a lot of their songs were them doing like, oh, that's our Nina Simone song, that's our Willie Dixon song, that's our Chuck Berry song. Kind of like instead of learning songs, trying to write a song like theirs in their style, and then letting it naturally become, my own. And really, nothing's ever finished. It's just abandoned, right? I forget who said that, but it's just sort of like some songs, come out just the music and lyrics come together so quickly. But other things like take their time and just sort of like taking my time with stuff and I think that for me, the music, the melody has always come really easily. It's always like I'm like a conduit more than anything else. I'll hear the verse, and then I'll hear the chorus, and then the bridge is just sort of me riffing on those, and that's kind of the fun part. But I love bridges. I'm obsessed with bridges. But yeah, but really now it's like I'll take months to work on the lyrics. And I realize like each one is it's like for me it's like a short story. It's like writing like a good short story. And really like the lyrics I have to just be there, they have to be at a certain level, even if I'm just doing a demo. I'm like not even going to do a demo of something until the lyrics are ready. And that lets you learn the song better. It lets you kind of find other, you start thinking about, okay, well, what's the guitar part going to be like? What's the bass part going to be like? What are some things I can talk about the producer, ideas I have for arrangements, but also how are other sort of musical themes, how can I weave them in and out of the song while really working on those lyrics?
So, is there anything that you would be able to tell any of your fellow indie rock, indie folk artists about your first studio session? How was it like for you? And maybe that encouraged them to go ahead and get in there and do their first studio session
Yeah, well,
themselves.
I still, it's like because of modern technology, I use Studio One, which is just, a DAW, and I record my vocals and my guitar parts and my bass parts, and then I send it to Don in Arizona, and he works his magic and masters everything, and he has a full setup there. And so I've never like actually stepped foot in like the studio. But what I would say is just, we like GarageBand, which is like I have stuff up on Spot. We talked about it. I have stuff up on Spotify that I can't listen to now after working with Don, but that was just done on the GarageBand app. There's all these free apps that you can use, these free DAW apps. Fender has one that's pretty good. I would say just start using that and get your music out there and put it up there because it's like proof of concept. It's like it shows to yourself, oh, I can do this, but also you'll get to once you start getting it out there and connecting with people on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, you're going to meet like your own, Mick and Ivy, your own Don, and you're going to connect with people who can really help you take it. Collaborators who believe in what you're doing and who are supportive with what you're doing, and who can help you take it to the next level. I think it's all about just getting it out there. So like download those apps and just write those songs and do it the best you can and don't overthink it and start getting it out there because you'll start getting that feedback and that's going to be the most important thing to help you grow artistically.
So you saying
That's
stop
that's what I
focusing
would
on the
tell them
nervousness.
and what I constantly remind myself.
Gotcha. Yeah, you saying stop focusing on the nervousness of actually doing it and actually do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's never gonna be perfect.
Right? As has been doing it for 6 years and you doing it for longer, we are telling you it's never going to sound perfect. It no matter how long you're doing it, it will never sound perfect.
But also what you said, you said earlier, if you're not nervous, there's something wrong.
There's
Like
something
if you're
wrong.
not, you gotta be, I mean, we're not AI, we're not machines. And that's what separates you. And it's like those mistakes you make, you might find lead you to like make the song better. So I think it's like you have to be open to failing. And failure is the greatest teacher, but it's also like happy mistakes happen too.
Hmm.
And it's like to sort of just be open to that and also it's like nothing happens. It's like a process, and to be very patient with it and to realize that you're not perfect now, but you're going to get better. And by working with people who you think are talented, that's going to help you grow artistically, grow musically, and to just be open to their suggestions and their ideas. And the sooner you get that process going, the sooner you'll start it's a journey. You gotta look at it as like a lifelong thing that you're
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna be on this road. And it's not what happens tomorrow, it's what happens next year. It's what happens 3 years from now. What happens after I'm no longer on this physical plane. I just want to, you just want to create, only do it if you want to make good music. That's what I would say. That's the most important thing is if you want to make good music, great music with other talented folks, pursue it. Otherwise, there's other things you can do.
So being on the topic of being vulnerable as a musician and letting those other people critique you and that keeping that vulnerability open, how do you balance being vulnerable in your music versus keeping some parts of your life private? Because I know me, I
Ooh,
fail pretty hard because I like to stay
right.
I like to stay private as much as possible. But I know there is times where your song calls for you to be a little bit vulnerable, depending on this, especially the theme of the song.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually it's funny. I don't I think that when I'm being my most honest and my most genuine and my most like exposing those personal things, that's when I feel like I'm onto something. And I sort of like don't it sort of makes me go even deeper. We talked about earlier, it's like the more specific the story you're telling is, the more universal it becomes. Because people, it's like these shared experiences we have, and you're giving your own account of it, your own point of view. And so I've never had a problem. I think it's like I want to just I think to me it's like the most important thing about any music that I like is it genuine? Is it honest? Is it really is the writer, is the artist, are they opening up their soul to the audience? That's the thing that inspires me the most. So I try to do the same thing. I don't have a problem with being vulnerable. I actually it sort of it motivates me to just write better. So I try to get in that space of, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable.
Okay, so you speaking of writing, is that one of your favorite parts of creating music? Is it writing, recording, performing, or seeing people reacting to it?
I mean, I think there, like, I love performing. I love recording because it's like performing, comes with its own, talk about getting I get just the worst stage fright, and then I'm fine once I remind myself to stay in the moment and have a good time. But man, waiting, before you're called out on stage, it's terrible every time. I love recording because there's so many like technical aspects, and that's when like you can really like dig into your like musicianship, but there's nothing like working on a new song and always being surprised by it because you're like, where is this coming from? And oh, thank God there's another one. Thank God I'm not done. Thank God I still have more things to say, more things to write about. I'm still inspired. I'm still, so but that like when you're creating something and then like the two aspects of that is just the moment of creating it is like a like the best drug in the world. But then when you're really crafting the lyrics, when you're really working on the song, that's the other part. It's like, putting the puzzle pieces together. That's the creative part of it is the thing I love the most about it. Absolutely.
Me too. I love being as creative as possible and sitting down in front of maybe just my TV, sitting there writing
Yeah.
for hours on hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't even realize how much time has gone by because you're
No,
just like, oh, I've been working on this verse. Oh, it's yeah, it's like, whoa,
it's been like
7 hours
3 hours.
ago.
Yeah, oh, I've been wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So speaking on that note,
Like,
so
why do I feel, oh, I haven't eaten in 3 days. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so speaking
I
on
should
that
probably
note,
eat a sandwich at some
yeah,
point. Yeah.
at some point I should probably start doing something for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I probably should shower, maybe drink a glass of water. But that's kind of the thing though, is like I love getting so caught up in it that it's like this you just sort of forget about everything. I mean, that's when you're onto something, is that
Hmm.
it like it captures you. You're captivated by the process, and it's yeah, that's a really cool thing.
So being captivated by the process, can you kind of walk us into your process of creating a song, like where your writing style and methods and techniques?
Yeah, I mean, I used to like we were talking about earlier. Every time I try to sit down and I'm like, and I shall write the greatest song that has ever been written, or I'm gonna write like the song that gets 100,000 hits or whatever. That never happens. It's usually like a reaction to something, something I'm reading or something I'm watching, an emotion even. I'll hear the melody, and I'll hear the verse. I'll hear the chorus, and that'll start coming in, and then with just based on the sound of that, it sort of informs. It's like an encoded message. It's like, this is the melody and this is the meaning. This is the theme you're going to be examining, and then like I said, I just try to grab the iPhone, grab the iPad, and hit the voice memo and find the right chords and get the melody down, so I don't have to worry. Because that's the worst thing, right? When you come up with a good melody and then you're like, and I forgot it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's just gone. I have no.
Just
Oh God,
gone.
the greatest. Yeah,
Like,
it's the
what did
greatest
I
melody.
say? Like, oh my
Yeah, what
God.
did I? But so I, you sort of like, and the words are like gobbledygook, right? It's like, and I found this girl and she works at her town on the bus. It's like not worrying about the lyrics, but just getting the finding the right chords and getting the melody out. And then, okay, I can work on what the. But so to me, it's like like I said, the melody. It's like, I don't know. It's like a resp. It's like the universe is like calling to me, and it's like I'm triggered by something. Like I said, like something's happened to me, or something I've read or seen. I'm experiencing something, and like I'm open to how that sounds musically, and it comes through, and I just got to get that down. And then to me, the real tough part is getting the right lyrics to fit the melody. So like the music part always comes really naturally. It's that the finding the right lyrics
Yeah.
uh is what I labor over. But again, I love that. I love that whole process.
Yep, that sounds like me too. I love that whole process. Normally, I just find me a beat and try to write to it. Then I'll be like, oh my God, yeah, no, that don't go with that.
Yeah.
That don't go with that. That don't go with that. And then I finally
Yeah.
find that one where I'm like, let me just stop focusing on the lyrics and then let me focus on the energy of how I want the song to actually be.
Yeah.
And then I
But
find
but
that
it's
right
but
one.
it,
And
but it, but it's amazing, like you're talking about, like just hearing a beat or something. It's amazing how something just like that,
yeah,
just by hearing a beat, can like make. make you create something from nothing and just be the only inspiration you need.
Yes.
Like you never know kind of what's going to be the catalyst, but it's like waiting for that catalyst to happen.
It's so hard just to
Yeah.
wait for the catalyst.
Yeah.
And I will say this to my fans, if you are like a hip hop maker or
Yeah.
anything, never stick with the very first beat you find.
Right.
That is nine times out of ten, after you do it and you probably record to it, you're going to throw the song away.
But that's the great thing
Yeah,
about having the technology of a garage band or a Fender app is you can start working all that out. You can get
yep,
your beat down. You know, in my case, it's like, okay, like these are the chords and then I have to figure out well, what's the rhythm to that, you
yeah,
know? Because I'm like, you know, like I always start like in that acoustic I it always for me everything always starts with an acoustic. And that's always the first thing I put down. And then it's like, okay, well then I got to find the right beat and I got to find the right, you know, rhythm to that. But it's like, yeah, you're totally right. It's like trial and error, and you got to have fun with it and be like open to experimenting. And it's like, how many times, I'm sure this has happened to you, you've worked on something for hours and hours and hours, and you're like, it's done, it's great. And then you come back the next day and you're like, I got to do that every part all over again. And it's like just being cool with, okay, well, that's how this works is
yep,
like, and then coming back the next day and being like, no, it was right the first time and I got to do it, but I got to do it all over again. Cause like, I don't know, things, you know, but it's just like,
yeah,
you just got to keep, I always like whenever I redo tracks, I always start things over because I don't
mhm.
want, you know, it's like that's part of the process. That's part of the fun. But it's like, yeah, it's like take your time with it. It's like there's no rush and make
No,
it, you know, get it to where how you envision it in your head. Like just push yourself to get it there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Follow what you see in your head. Is how
Mhm.
what I would tell musicians. If you see it a certain way in your project going, hey, talk to your producer and let them know, like, hey, I want
Yeah.
I see this track sounding just like this, or I see me going this way into this pocket of a flow on this. How do you feel about that if I did it here? Just go ahead and be musically
But
inclined to
but
take
but
those
also what
chances.
I've gotten really into lately is not giving anybody any notes. So like just sort of sending like when I'm working with, but that's because I trust Don.
Yeah.
So I trust Don's instincts more than my own. So I'll just send him, you know, okay, I wrote the bass and you know the here's the acoustic and the bass and my vocals and I'll send it to him and he'll always come back. Well, if he doesn't tell me to redo stuff first, which he always does in a very nice way. It's seldom that he'll not say, "Hey, like this isn't, you know, this or that, you know, that, you know, vocals, blah blah blah, got to be redone." And he advocates for my own songs, so I'm not going to argue with him. I'm not going to be like, "No, I'm not going to do another take." I'm always like more than happy to do another take because it's like, you know, you can always do it better, you know,
Right.
and better now than, you know, when it's up on Spotify and you're
Yep.
like, ah, I wish I had, oh God, I'm a little flat there. You know, there's nothing worse than that
Nothing
feeling.
worse
Like,
than hearing
oh,
it
oh,
back.
people are listening to this. Oh no, what have I done? And so that's but nine times out of ten he'll come back with something, and I'm like, that's better than anything I could have thought of. But again, you have to find a collaborator that you're that comfortable with. Otherwise, yeah, push for the way you see it. But I'll also be open to if you really respect and trust those people, be open to their feedback and their ideas because they'll help you shape. You know, it's sort of like I feel like I'll write the song, but I'm not sonically responsible for it.
Mm,
You know, and
yes.
having a great producer, they find the sound that makes this that captures what you know your intent, what you wanted to do. And but again, it's like you have to be working with a really good producer who gets your stuff. And I'm really fortunate to be working with someone like Don who just gets like we have a very just our we're both around the same age and we both grew up listening to the same music and we both have this this wide appreciation of all these genres that we can pull from. So we always like talk in very specific terms. And his direction is always very inspiring. It's not like do this exactly like this. It's always more of a coming from like a philosophical point of view. So just I've learned to be really open to people who's, but again, and you were talking earlier about your listening party folks and how important it is to have. That's another thing. By getting your music out there, you meet other people, and you meet people who aren't just like, your buddies from high school or college, or work, but people who are actually, musicians and songwriters to give you who you trust, whose work you respect, but a group of people, a cadre, if you will, of folks that could that can really help you shape stuff, and but being very cautious about who you let into that group, because the worst thing you can do is let in people who are just going to be judgmental and tear down what your ideas are. You don't want to do that. So being very cautious, but once you start finding those people, and you'll know in your you just know it, that
Yeah.
these people are whatever their genre is or their background is, they just are on the same wavelength you are. And to be open to the suggestions of the folks that you respect.
Yeah, it'd be a bad thing to have a circle full of people who have a glass of haterade each day.
Oh yeah. Nothing worse than that. And the thing is that everybody's going to experience people who give them awful feedback, and you gotta like, but right away when you feel it instinctively, and it's like whenever it's thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's just all you got to say. There's no, don't engage with them any further. If you feel like it's coming from a toxic place, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Move on to the next opinion. Those are people that you don't want. Like if somebody, and one of the warning signs is when somebody's talking about things that have nothing to do with, the structure of the song, the melody, or the lyrics. Like when somebody's talking about, we were talking about earlier, like your hook or your beat or what, it's like, well, that's not, I mean, that's later. Okay.
Yeah.
But first, if we're just talking about, the shaping the song and getting the song in a certain place where then you can start adding arrangements. But a red flag to me is when people, are like, the bass line is great. It's like,
All right, here we
great.
go.
That doesn't,
Right.
I'm not, so I'm not going to take any of I'll move on to or, more often than not, like the baseline is terrible. It's like, well, that's not really, that's like, not, that's like a placeholder right now. And,
Right.
so in your bones when somebody's giving you advice that's not speaking direct. And also we were talking, like, it's really important to find people who respect what your intent. What are your intentions in writing the song? So what are you trying to say? And are you checking all the boxes that make getting your message, your story out there effective? And that's how you judge to me, when I'm listening to somebody's song, that's what I'm judging is okay, what are their intentions, and are they successfully meeting those intentions at the best of their ability? And that's the best feedback. And if the feedback isn't based on that, if it's based on these other things, do not engage. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, keep it pushing. No, you are exactly
Yeah.
right. So let's take a little moment to spotlight your new project that's coming out. So, Hard to Be Human.
Mhm.
What inspired it?
So it's funny because it's different from the song you chose, which I really respect. Which is like a very Buddy Holly doo-wop inspired someone to cry to. Very, very love song ballad. Hard to Be Human. I started writing it. It was last a little over a year ago. It was like the lead up, September, October, the lead up to the 2024 presidential election. And I realized that things were not going to go the way that I was hoping they would go. I mean, I think, that moment of terror we all experienced when Biden, that debate was just okay. It was like, what is going on? And the fact that you were talking to people who seemed to forget how terrible the Trump administration was. They were like, well, no, COVID. And it was like, no, it was way before COVID. Things, the economy, the same, not as bad as it is now, but the same kind of cynicism that was being, um, just the same sort of cruelty that seems so popular with him and his administration, and this sort of the importance of the free market over your own personal freedom. So it was then I just sort of was inspired to, instead of being anxious and feeling hopeless, I was like, well, let me write about it, because one thing I can do is chronicle this. And I started writing songs like, Hard to Be Human, like Cracks Appearing All Around, like Shutdown. They're all up on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever you listen to your music, your streamer of choice. But I just, those songs just started coming to me almost without me thinking about it. And it was like every day. There's a song, one of the tracks I'm working on right now, You Know How This Ends. It like came to me after I had just, was just reading the news. I was like, oh God, like, it was, it just came to me that that's what inspired me. So it was all very much songs, with a few exceptions. I threw in there's one or two love songs in there for kind of to give some relief, because otherwise, and also it was like, not every song is, some of the songs are political, but there's also songs that are political without mentioning politics. And that's like one of the tricks I've been learning, is that people are turned off right away by politics. So find other ways to talk about it without talking about it, and lyrically, and that was another sort of. So I started thinking about, well, what are not just people like politically, but how are they personally being affected, and what are their own internal struggles, like with anxiety and with depression, and with just trying to get by, like how hard it is, and sort of focusing on songs that talk about that. So the album is sort of accidentally, I wrote a concept album, and I didn't mean to, but I that's what happened, and I'm really, like I said, I'm really proud of it. And I sort of, I think it's interesting because people, the love songs I write are what people gravitate toward the most, but this is a work that I'm hoping with some time people will be able to listen to with a little less anxiety, because I get it. Like, you want to escape all this. Like, I totally get it. But like I said, it's more like I'm chronicling this, and I'm one of many artists who are. And I'm part of that tradition of, person with guitar, like strumming a few chords, writing about what's happening. I'm just, another voice in that long tradition that goes back, hundreds of years. Or I guess they had lutes before they had guitars or whatever. But that's, so I'm just, yeah, I mean, that's the album is there, it's funny. Not all of it is political. Like I said, it sort of segs away from that and goes more into like all the things that we're feeling internally right now, that anxiety, that depression, that hopelessness, but also that need to find hope and that need to find humor in things is also there. Yeah, it's got a lot going on, and I hope that people dig it and kind of embrace it, and aren't, turned off by the subject matter, and sort of approach it with the same appreciation they would to as like a love song, but yeah, I think with like a year from now, it'll be a lot easier to listen to. But I got to get it out now because it's about what's happening now.
Right. And like you said, time will help the masses digest it and listen to it a little bit easier.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
but as they say, right now the wound is fresh, so it's
Yeah.
always hard to hear what you don't want to hear at when you really need to hear it. So
Yeah, and it's like what I'm compelled to write about now. And it's like, because I have all these, the love songs, look, the love songs come easy, right?
hmm
People want to hear the love songs, but the love songs come easy because we all want to talk about love. We all want to Well, that's why we all listen to music, and that's why we all get into music is because of love songs. And so that then the album I'm working on, Love's a Lonely Town, that's going to be the follow-up to this that Don and I are already mapping out for next year. We're going to start recording it in January when Hard to Be Human goes live, as the kids say. That's all love songs. It's going to be 11 tracks, all love songs, no politics. And because that's what I normally write. You know, someone to cry to, the song that you're going to be playing, that's more of like my what I write about. And this was like a surprise to me. Hard to Be Human is a was just a for me just like I said, I gotta, instead of being anxious, instead of being depressed about all this, let me chronicle it. I call it a chronicle of cope. Is sort
Mm.
of, if I would give the album a subtitle,
Ooh,
that would be
Chronicle.
it.
That's a good subtitle. Chronicle of Cold.
Thanks.
That is a great one.
Thanks. Yeah.
See, you said you earlier you wasn't that creative with titles. See?
No, well, not when it comes to band titles.
Ah, man.
That's what yeah, no, Foot was my, like names like that are what I come up with. Yeah, no, it's not I'm not good with the but no, but song titles are hard too. I mean, that's like the hardest part is coming up with like a good song. Like, I mean, Cracks Appearing All Around was originally called Problems at Home, which wasn't even lyrics from the uh um
The
song. And
originals.
I'm like, what? No, I mean, problems at home, it like sounds like a completely different, but I was like, yeah, problems at home meaning stateside. So but cracks appearing all around is in the song, and it's part of the chorus, and it's a better fit. But yeah, no, it's like, it's funny because it's like the lyrics, they take so long, but that song, you got to have a great song title, or else
Yeah.
what people are going to be like, I don't want to listen to a song called Foot. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
you might find the target audience. You never know. You might find the target audience that likes
I
that.
I've always, well, I have like if I, because I'll think of like really bad, like I was thinking of the House of Missing Thumbs as like an album, and I'm like, it's just like so stupid that it's like, come on, you want to listen to the House of Missing Thumbs, don't you? But so it's like that's the kind of thing I have to avoid, is kind of like trying to amuse myself with stupid sounding titles, but because it's hard. You want to attract listeners, not repel them.
Right.
Uh, or maybe you do. I don't know. It depends on what your intentions are. But maybe all you want to do is repel them. But I like music that's inviting, and so that's like the music I'm trying to make.
So every artist hits a wall, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you have hit one yourself, just like I've obviously hit one. What's been one
Yeah.
of the hardest lessons you had to learn so far in the music, making music?
The hardest lesson was being away from music for 18 years, because I was mentioning, after college I got into grant writing for nonprofits, and fundraising in nonprofits is like any aspect of nonprofits, where like you always need, you're always behind with payments, and you're always raising money. I always like refer to people in fundraising and nonprofits as the air traffic controllers of the nonprofit world, because it never ends. It's like there's just a constant need, and there's always a crisis. And I unfortunately, when I got into it, 9/11 happened, and then the financial crisis, and then COVID, and it's like there was always, so for 18 years of my life, I was increasingly becoming separated from the thing I loved the most. That was the biggest wall, was coming to a realization that what I was doing for a living had taken over what I wanted to do with my life. And trying to no and making it a mission to get back to do what I wanted to do with my life was the biggest wall I had to push through. And like I said before, I'll do some grant writing jobs here and there to pay the bills. But since last, October, November, when I started writing those songs again, is when I just was like, no, I'm just going to focus on this. And I've never been more poor or more happy in my entire life. And that was the biggest wall. And so since then, I've it's fortunately it just the songs keep coming, and sometimes they're about, capturing the moment, or they're, yeah, those love songs that everybody wants to hear. But I gotta say, like, getting better at, if it's about now, okay, let's go more internal with this and make it more universal. And I don't want to alienate somebody because of what their political beliefs are, or what their, spiritual beliefs are, or what their philosophical beliefs are. So how can I make it more, the message of the song more universal? Because it all comes back to the fact that right now in our country, this isn't about politics, it's about class. It's class warfare that's going on. We have a few people who have gamed the system by not paying their workers enough, and holding on to all. We shouldn't have all these billionaires. And it's about class. And all of us, 80% of the country is struggling. They're working paycheck to paycheck. And we need to all get together and sit down and realize that what this is all about is we all want the same things. We all want a job where we're treated with dignity, where we're paid respectful wages. We want to have affordable access to healthcare. We want to have affordable housing. We want to have safe working conditions. Those are all the things, affordable childcare. It's what all of us want. Let's put all the other things, let's set them aside for now. And that's exactly, I don't want to get too political here, but it behooves the donor class and the political class, and that's both parties. They're making a lot of money right now off the status quo, and it behooves them to have a electorate, constituents who are disconnected, disenfranchised, and misinformed, so that they feel like, oh, my vote doesn't count. And we got to just all sit down and realize we all want the same thing. And 80% of us are in the same boat. And we have to bring back the fact that, we need heroes. This is the age of when we need heroes. And I think being kind, being compassionate, being ethical, being considerate, and being patient are acts of courage. And let's practice those every day. And like I said, they'll keep coming up with excuses, whether it's, oh, well, we don't, have the same spiritual beliefs, we don't have the same ethnical backgrounds, whatever. Those are all meaningless. We're all people. We're all the same on the inside, and we all want the same things, which is to be happy.
Yep. No, you are exactly
Oh,
correct.
and to be loved, and to love back. So let's all get there together.
Right. We do have to band together, and we're only going to get there to those moments together, and
Mhm.
can't be divided in trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's sort of like I'm trying to, like, that's my as I knock over my Klonopin bottle. That's where, I mean, that's really where I'm trying to go with writing, because that's really what I want to do, is to bring people together so that we all can start talking and treating each other like human beings again, and realizing that, we all need as many allies as we can get. And we're all in this together, and let's help uplift one another.
No, you are exactly
All
right.
you need is love, man.
That's
Right?
it.
I mean, let's be serious for a second. Like, when I look at, like, the January 6th folks, all those people just needed a hug.
Yeah.
You
Just a little,
know?
just a little
Right?
hug.
Yeah. I mean, it goes a long way, but, like, I mean, John Lennon was right. All you need is love. It's like that. That's like it all comes down to that. And there's so many people right now who, because they're working so hard, because they're so stressed out, because everything is so expensive, they don't have time to be compassionate. They're so much in a rush, but they don't have time to be loved or to love back. And it's like, drop all that for just a few moments and appreciate the love that's all around you and the beauty that's all around you, and embrace that and focus on that.
Right. And just
Man,
focus
I sound
on
like
that
a
moment.
total hippie. Yeah.
It's okay. So
But
before we
that's why, to kind of come full circle, all the songs I'm writing about what's happening right now are ultimately love songs. They're just not the love between, a guy and a girl. It's the love among us all that we all share.
The love of the land. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so before we wrap it up, we're gonna do a little lightning round and a
Oh, uh-oh.
little fun personal lightning round to, lighten the mood up a little bit.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, I mean, because of me. I'm sorry about
No,
that. Yeah,
no,
because I'm like,
no.
now let me.
No, we just want the fans to get to know you a little bit better
Sure. Appreciate
with a fun little way,
Yeah,
some fun
absolutely.
questions at the ends. So, if I open your playlist right now, what would be
Uh-huh.
the most unexpected song I see there?
The most unsuspected song. Okay, you're gonna make me do this. Oh, you okay. Tears, Tears by Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I
So
can't blame you. I'm pretty sure
again,
my most unexpected one be Shot Clock by LMA. So,
okay, but that's more respectable. Like um I'm really embarrassed by that one.
how you shouldn't, that's like be
I wish I could say something like, Beethoven's Fifth, or, like something, I mean, doing something a little more,
I'm I mean, if
yeah.
you ask the little kid Yak Tandru what his most
Yeah.
unexpected song would have been Who Let the Dogs Out.
Okay, well, again, because I'm 52, so I'm like, this woman in her mid 20s writing songs about how like these sensual songs. I'm like, I'm not for me.
Said it should not.
These aren't being written for you. But I would say that's probably like the most but the ones that I was talking earlier, like the things that I'm obsessed right now, well, I listen to on a weekly basis. I'm saying this to give me a little more cred, but Nina Simone, I Shall Be Released, Al Green, How Do You Mend a Broken Heart, Femme Fatale, by Velvet Underground, Cosmic Dancer by T-Rex, or the Nick Cave version, and anything by Wise Blood, or Lana or Nico Case. But probably by Nico Case, I think I Wish I Was the Moon Tonight is an amazing song. And this is actually, what would surprise, well, probably not surprise people, but Midnight Oil, there's a song from the 80s called Blue Mining Town. And it's the one that's, who's gonna save me? Who's gonna save me? And it's always been one of my favorite songs, and I listen to that all the time. So I'd like go out there and listen to Blue Mining Town.
Okay.
It's amazing because it's written, yeah, it's just amazing. It's an amazing song. So,
Okay. I'll definitely give it a listen. You know I love me
but
some
also
Blue.
listen to Cosmic Dancer because it's an amazing song too, and it's infectious.
You get one dream collab, dead or alive. Whose is it?
Wait, so I get one
You get one dream collab for a song, dead or alive. Who you choosing?
oh. Because I thought it went out a little bit, so I said you get one drink, and I was like, well, obviously an Alabama Slammer. Um, so one dream collab, I'd have to say Sabrina Carpenter. No, I'd have to say, I mean, come on, John Lennon.
That's
I can't,
I can't blame you. That's a
or
great pick.
Paul McCartney or George Harrison. Um, because those three, nobody has had more of a not only musical but like philosophical impact on my life. But yeah, my top choice would be John Lennon, because I think that just the way he saw the world, it was just his wisdom was amazing, and just to be around that would be cool.
So, what's a weird studio ritual or superstition you have?
Like I mentioned this already. So I never breathe through my nose when I sing, only through my mouth. I guess that's not too weird, but okay. My hands are always in my pockets
Okay.
because I think like my hands have to be in my pockets when I'm singing. I don't know why. It's like if they're not in my pockets. I just feel like I got to redo the take. I just I don't know why, and I wish I did, and I probably have to go into therapy to find out. But I'm trying to, okay. So here's another weird thing. So I have to listen to a track 3 times in a row
Hmm.
before I can move on. And that's not only with my own music, but with like if you sent me one of your R&B songs before I would get back to you, I'd have to listen to it 3 times in a row. And that's just more of me because I'm like, well, the first time I'm going to be looking at this, and the second time I'm going to be looking at this, and it's not going to be until the third time that I actually hear the thing,
Right.
you know. So that I guess that's not really a. But when it comes to like I just recorded a track, I need to listen to it 3 times in a row. It's like a very OCD thing.
Oh, I understand. I'm kind of just as bad too. I have to listen to it multiple times before I get feedback. Like maybe let me
Yeah.
just make sure I heard it right before I actually
Right.
say something about this part. Because sometimes you heard it wrong, or sometimes I've actually found this out just by listening to it to different equipment. Sometimes you
Mm,
hear one aspect of the song one way, and then you go put it in some headphones, you be like, "Oh, I didn't even hear that."
yeah. Yeah. And
So
again, you always want to catch it because you never want to put it out there and be like,
yeah, you'd be like,
yeah,
"Oh, if you would have said it like this, I think it would have sounded better." And then you actually be like, "Well, I did do it like that," and you be like, "Well, oh, well, let me listen to some headphones like this," and you'd be like,
yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
okay, it does
That's always
sound."
the worst thing though, when you're like, oh, like this would have been a better line. And then
It,
you start doing it when you play it live.
oh my
I
God.
do that. I do that all the time though. Like
Me
I'm like,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I can't listen to my first two albums on Spotify, is because every time I hear them, I just be like, "Oh, I could have did that so much better."
I that loved in the numb for me. It's just demos and like I said, people still listen to it, but I can't listen to it because it's just
No.
and you found and I'm really thankful that you found, someone to cry to. You were, that you connected with that song. I'm glad you did, but I can't listen to that because I'm just like, oh God. That's why I'm glad I sent you a version I did with Dawn with it. But it's like the oh god, I can't listen to any of those songs because I'm just like, is that like a rapper in the, is that like a like cellophane I'm stepping on in the, what is happening in my apartment right now? Like what, like just like is what, it's just like, oh, people walking by, like things like that, talking about whatever they're talking about. But what I love about today is I feel like this, and if anybody living in an apartment complex knows this, but like when people step out their apartment to make a private phone call and they're talking so loudly that the entire world knows, like up on those, and you want to say to the person, I can hear everything that you're talking about, like, do you,
Like
like, your
this,
conversation is now so public. Yeah.
like this is basically going to be my intro to my song now.
Yeah, but so like picking up like those noises or whatever, but to me it's like the because I need to whenever I record my producers like to not pick up all the ambient stuff because I'm in a studio apartment, to record vocals in the closet. So like hitting a hanger, stuff like that. Like you never know what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
just being like really, really cautious of that, or like hearing like the neighbor suddenly is like singing something, and you're like, okay, yeah. So just being, yeah, you always got to listen to stuff because you never know those. It's so funny what those mics pick up that you're not even you're not. That's why I like I try to I use direct input as much as possible with the interface because it's like, well, I know it doesn't matter the all the helicopter because that's I live in LA and I live mid Wilshire, so mid city, and it's like the helicopters are constant because horrible things are constantly happening where I live, things that I don't even want to know about. So I mean, a lot of good things too, but this the amount of helicopters that are constantly happening. So that's another thing is you're doing a great take, and it's like oh, like is I'm like in Vietnam suddenly. Like what is going on? Or like people like they're walking by on the stairway across from me, and they're just talking so loudly about the bar they've just been at, and you're just like, oh, I know you think this is interesting, but the rest of the world
It
doesn't.
doesn't.
Yeah,
Oh, that is so funny. I've had some stories like that too, especially like when people be walking by my car, because normally I like my car since it's mostly the most quiet place I
yeah.
got. Everywhere else that I would
Mm.
try to record, it got the worst echo. I'm like, oh my goodness. It sounds like I'm trying to
Yeah.
record it in a music hall.
Right, right. No, no, totally, totally. But the other things, okay, but I have to say, like the noises, okay, people slamming doors, their front doors. I don't understand that. I do not understand that. That's like, don't do that. But also, this is something that I've recently noticed. The most irritating sound to me is like the sound of like people who they're not even aware of this, and they're always young folks who have no reason to be doing this, but who shuffle when they walk. That sound just, and I'm
Yes.
like, I sound like a really old, those young goddamn young people, but no, it's not. I like turn your music up, man. Do all the drugs you want to do. It's like whatever makes you happy. Have all the sex you want, but it don't shuffle your feet when you walk. It's killing me. What is, I don't know if it's like people are like in flip flops or what is going on, but it's like, oh, that sound.
Said just pick your feet up.
Yeah, it'll help you in life.
All
Lots of,
right. So before we wrap up,
yeah.
is there anything else that you would like to let the people know, the fans know, besides where they could find you and how to tap into your
Well,
music?
sure. Well, I just want to, thank you again for this opportunity. It's been great, talking to you not only for the interview, but beforehand. Appreciate you getting to know me and talking so much to make this so much fun. And this has been a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you, like I said, connecting to my song and wanting to platform it and give me a place where people get to know me a little better, know my music a little better. But yeah, I have the 5 singles from Hard to Be Human, which will be out in January, are available Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, SoundCloud, YouTube Music, and all the normal places that you can find, Amazon, all the normal places where music is streamed. And then if you want to see some videos, my YouTube channel, just Jacob Tell Music, or my Instagram, jtell73. Those are good places to go to, and you can see some videos that some images that have been put to the words.
Alrighty, and as they always make the artists do, is there anything inspiring you like to let the other artists that's trying to start up know and would motivate them?
Yeah, just don't let anything hold you back from this. We got one life to live, and let do it, because if not now, when? Just do it. And it's put yourself out there, take the chance, and just embrace the journey, the good, the bad, the strange, and there'll be a lot of strange, and have a good time with it,
Yes.
especially the strange stuff. Just enjoy it, because you'll meet so many people, so many different types of personalities, that really it's an adventure. But just do it. It's don't stop. Just go on there and download that app, download GarageBand, just start getting your stuff out there. Just do it.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. The best thing you could do is just go ahead and do it. Stop fighting yourself
Absolutely.
against it. If the music going to sound good, if house people going to retain it, just do it.
Do it.
Start
Yeah,
making the music just for yourself, and the fans and everybody else loving it will come in naturally.
absolutely. 100%. And do it. I mean, and do it for yourself too. I mean, like, do it for yourself. Be in it for making great music for yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today,
Of
Jacob. I
course.
really appreciate it. You taking the time to be a part of the Yanktown Frequency and the mission we're trying to accomplish here.
Well, it's been wonderful. Thank you. It's been a blast.
No problem, no problem. I would just want to let you know much love and much success to you. Everybody, this was Jacob Tell. We'll be playing his song Somebody to Cry To live on the Yanktown Frequency over here on Monday. So tune in live to hear it. I appreciate you, Jacob. You have a great day, man.
You too.